It is our initial Week 10 NFL picks against the spread video for the 2025 NFL season. I'm excited about this week. There's some games I really like. I like about half the card, so hopefully that means that's a good omen for this week. Before we get into everything in the intros, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something for the merch store. It is our 801 AMC shirt. This is financial advice. Do not invest in AMC. That is a reminder, but you can get that shirt as well as everything else in the merch store. 20% off sale right now. You can change the colors of the shirt. You can get long sleeve, women's tank top, infant onesie, hoodie, etc. You can go to Amazon, buy my books. The most recent one is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people in this book. It's a lot of fun to write. My first book was The Safety and Field Goal, where it was a top 5 topics book about the NFL. Mostly serious stuff, but some funny stuff too. And visit thelogicalapproach.com because the man owning thelogicalapproach.com, Andy Iskoe. Andy, how are you? And how's your week 9?
I am fine, Walt. I'm trying to remember. It was so many days ago already. Week 9 was generally good until we got to Sunday and Monday night.
Yeah, it looked great until then. It looked great until I love it at the bottom of the screen when it says touchdown, incomplete pass. I'm like, okay, that's obviously pick 6. And it's the Chargers-Titans game. And I'm like, oh, Cam Ward threw a pick 6, right? And then, no, it was Justin Herbert. And then punt return touchdown. I'm like, oh, Chargers got one back, right? No, it's Titans. So that was really frustrating.
That's the NFL, the figure-it-out league.
Exactly. You can handicap it perfectly, and then
they kick the ball off.
Yeah, exactly. You got it right all the time, and then it's all the players' fault and stuff like that. I was actually sweating out an LSU college basketball under tonight. And I was like, they kept hitting threes. I kept yelling at the computer screen. I wasn't even watching the game. Luckily, it did go under because there was no scoring in the last 2 minutes.
No, it didn't. It does not go under. It stays under.
It stays under, yes.
It starts under and it stays under until it goes over. That's just one of my little pet peeves when people don't know the English language.
Okay, that's true.
Grammar or whatever.
We will stay.
I'm an asshole. I got a reputation to uphold. Come on now.
It's okay. No, I believe me.
In fact, I have business cards printed up. Professional asshole. People like to have them,
I don't have one. Can I have one next time we hang out?
Next time I get some more made up. I'm running out. They're too popular.
Well, yeah, I would definitely love one.
Or I'm getting too widespread, one or the other.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm all for grammar and stuff like that too. I love correcting people. So, as Connor says, Connor's just a slightly short, long sleeve Adonai Mitchell Jets shirt. We'll have to get one. I don't know if Zaz will cooperate, but that would be good. Mike says hi, Andy.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah. How was your week 9? Did it go well or?
It was actually pretty good. I mean, I had a couple of plays like I had. We talked about, I think, Carolina. I did not expect them to win the game, but getting the points against the Packers because it seemed to be similar to a game like they played against the Bengals, especially coming off of a very good effort the Sunday night before against Pittsburgh. A couple of those. Denver came back nicely against Houston too. In fact, my mathematical or programmed projections had the score 18-15.
Wow.
But the projection had Houston winning, but I liked Houston all along. I'm sorry, I liked Denver all along, even though Houston came up with that. And there were some other good little games in there that I had. The one that was disappointing was and Buffalo, of course, came through, but Dallas on Monday night, I can't know what to make about that one.
I mean, I know Evan loved that one as well. I think everyone we talked to loved.
By the way, that is very true. It can go under if it's already gone over, but that's the exception to the rule that that once it's over, it's over.
Yeah, maybe in my mind,
but not in that situation.
Maybe in my mind it went over because of all the threes, and so actually, you know what happened was I actually did go under because in my head I thought I had under 157.5, and it landed at. Oh no, sorry. I thought I went under 155.5, and it hit 156, and I thought I lost, and I looked at the slip and it said 156.5. So actually, I was like, wow, I won this one. I thought I lost.
Well, it went under based upon what your ticket was.
Yes, maybe it was a Mandela effect or something.
But the game itself, yes,
yeah, exactly.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, yeah. If you had to drop one, who would you drop? Charbonnet, Woody Marks, Henderson, or Harvey? Oof, that's a tough one. Stevenson might be back soon, so that could render Henderson kind of irrelevant again. Although Woody Marks is not really getting the touches over Chubb, so I think it would. And then Harvey's really just like Harvey's scoring touchdowns, but he's not touching the ball that much. So I think, look, you can wait until Friday or Saturday here, I suppose. So just look at the injury report. If Stevenson doesn't practice at all, then I'd keep Henderson, cut Harvey. Although, yeah, I guess you can't wait for Harvey because he plays Thursday. So maybe it's between Woody Marks and Henderson. I don't know. I mean, it's tough. It would definitely not be Charbonnet. It's certainly one of the other three. So yeah, wait till the end of the week. If Stevenson doesn't seem like anywhere close to practicing, then cut Woody Marks. Otherwise, if Stevenson's back in practice, cut Henderson, I think. All right, so we have speaking of Harvey, we have the Denver game coming up Thursday night. It is the Broncos favored by 9.5 or 9, depending on where you look. They play the Raiders, of course, and we can look at the injury report. It looks like the Broncos are going to be wearing the orange crust jerseys, which I love. So Patrick Surtain and Marvin Mims are out. I don't really care about Mims. Surtain, though, obviously a big factor, albeit not really so much.
Not against the Raiders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess the Raiders, because they don't have a receiver, especially with Jacoby Myers gone. The Raiders, they let's say Adam Butler's out. Really no key injuries here. Obviously Colton Miller on the IR, but all the regulars who are not on IR are going to play. So I like Denver in the spot. I just feel like, and you talked about how bad the Raiders' offensive line is. So when they get Colton Miller back, they will be better. But Colton Miller's not back yet, and the Broncos have the number one pass rush in the NFL according to number of pressures. So they'll be able to get to the Raiders a lot. I feel like Geno Smith's going to make some mistakes, and the Raider defense outside of Max Crosby just not really doing anything. So I think Bo Nix should have a good game, unlike last week where he had a great final drive but did nothing otherwise. I think Bo Nix should be able to throw all over. He's
going up against a much weaker defense this time too.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the easier defenses we'll see all year. It's kind of like the Cincinnati game where they hosted the Bengals, and that was a blowout. Also,
it's called the Matador defense, where all the Raider defenders get stiff necks from turning them around so often.
Right. Right. So here's a cool stat. I don't know if you're familiar with this, and it kind of makes sense. I'm not a big trend guy, but I do like this one, and credit to Charles B on Facebook for reminding me of this. Teams coming off overtime games and playing on Thursday, that's it, just it, 6-25 against the spread, all time. So this is really, really bad spot for the Raiders. So what are your thoughts here? Because I like Denver a lot.
I can't find any reason to recommend the Raiders under any circumstance. For a number of years, I forget when it ended. I think it was maybe last year or 2 years ago. The Raiders won like 6 or 7 in a row against Denver.
Yeah,
the Raiders were a little bit of a better team back then, and Denver was, struggling until Sean Payton came along. This could very well be like that game against Cincinnati when Denver won big on that Monday night about a month or so ago. I don't know that I'm going to use it in the contest because I normally don't like playing Thursday night games.
Yeah.
But if this were a Sunday game, it would definitely be on the card, and I might still make a play on it. I haven't decided yet. I want to see a little bit more work. I will say that if I have my numbers correctly now, the Denver Broncos lead the league in defensive sacks per game, just under 4.5.
Yeah. That Denver
for an average of 6.05 yards lost per sack, or 26, just under 27 yards per game that the opposing team loses because of sacks.
Yeah, it's a rough matchup for the Broncos,
which is also the NFL high.
Yeah. So really rough matchup for the Broncos.
I don't know.
For the Raiders. Sorry, yeah. I don't foresee myself submitting the card early because you just don't get access to the information. But I am in contests, like similar contests on DraftKings, so you can edit your picks. So I will be placing Denver in that, and then obviously editing what I need to later. Cassandra says Raiders are forced to play for us at +10. I would love to hear why. Like
No.
Andy said, I don't see a reason to take the Raiders at all here. It seems like a complete mismatch and a bad spot, like bad matchup and bad spot for the Raiders. You don't see
Because
that.
the Raiders even scored 10 points. I mean, they scored a bunch, last week. And actually, I mean, the offense was okay last week, nothing special. But it was the defense that let them down because every time they scored, Jacksonville scored with an answer.
Yeah, and obviously a big difference between the Denver and Jacksonville defenses.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's defense is ranked 21st in EPA. Denver defense is ranked actually number 11. I think it's because they're weaker to the run, but I don't know. The Raiders can't really run block anyway. So, all right.
Yeah, let me see what I have on the. Denver actually, this is one area where they're not too far off. If my numbers are right, Vegas allows 3.9 yards per rush. Denver allows 3.7, so it's not a huge advantage in that, using that basic concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just the Raiders don't have the offensive line to kind of exploit that.
And Denver averages 5.0 per rush on offense, and Vegas 3.8. So that's more than a yard differential as far as that goes. And of course, the run game, is important if you want to have a successful passing game. And I think Denver is better, certainly in the passing game. And the Raiders have not gotten the kind of production out of Genty as they had expected when they drafted him. But that's because there's no offensive line blocking for him.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how he's dead last in the NFL in yards before contact.
Yeah,
he just has he has to dodge players in the backfield, and just it's not really doing anything there. But he's at least catching passes now, so they've figured out that they have to get him involved in the pass game. So that's at least something. But yeah,
that was a horrible play the Raiders called when they went for the win on that 2-point conversion. They had it blocked. I mean, it didn't show it. It's sort of like I don't want to say they panicked, but they seemed to rush a little bit as far as designing that play. Chip Kelly may have lost what he had, or he's trying to sabotage Pete Carroll. I don't know.
It was the perfect play though, because they excited their fans, they kept their fans involved, and they lost so they could preserve their draft status.
But they covered.
They covered, exactly. Yeah, that's
even with the line closing in a lot of places at 1.5.
Yeah, good teams win, great teams cover. So the Raiders are a great team. They were a great team on week 9.
On Sunday, yes. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's get to the Sunday.
The Raiders do have a nice distinction. You know what they have in common? They have something in common with the Buffalo Bills.
What's that?
They beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
Only 2 teams.
Well, no, the Patriots beat the Bills. The Steelers were the other team that beat the Bills.
Oh, I'm trying to think. No, I'm saying that they both beat both Buffalo. That's right. I'm sorry. Buffalo lost to the Patriots.
Yeah. So the Raiders and Steelers are
Steelers. Yeah.
They're the 2 teams, and they're the big rivals from the 70s. So maybe there's some symmetry there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, when today's players' grandparents played.
Yeah, right.
That was the old run, pass, punt. NFL.
Yep. Which is wild to think about because we're at a point now where I started my website in 1999, and in my mock drafts I had Patrick Surtain Sr. Like I had Marvin Harrison. Well, not quite Marvin Harrison Jr. He was close.
Maybe Antonio Winfield.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah. Antoine. Yeah. So I did mock draft these players, and now it's their kids, and it's gonna be rough when I'm mock drafting their grandkids.
2030, 2040.
Exactly. Or in the year 2044 ish. Tyreek Hill's 12 kids who will be eligible for the draft.
Yeah. Which one of the kids does not get in the next offensive drive?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's exactly that the rotate.
Although probably all be wide receivers or running backs.
Yeah, or maybe cornerbacks. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Devil Singletary? Had him as a top waiver pickup in some of my deep leagues. Thanks in advance. I think it's gonna be 50-50 split with Singletary and Tyron Tracy. I don't really trust that situation. I wish I had better things to tell you, Spanky. I just I don't know. I don't like it. I know he had more carries than Tracy did last week, but would it surprise you at all if Tracy had more carries than Singletary this week? I don't really see it here. So we'll see. I don't think it's like an awful pickup, or anything. So if that was the best you could do, I get it.
Well, again, it may have to do with bye weeks.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That the question comes into play.
Yeah. Or injuries, whatever. So,
Yeah.
okay. So we have unfortunately, not a London game, but a Germany game here. It's Falcons versus the Colts. 9:30 a.m. The dreaded 6:30 a.m. West Coast time. So, I feel sorry for you, Andy, and others having to wake up that early to.
I'll set my sundial.
Yeah, right. It's definitely rough here. So Colts are favored by 6.5. Of course, they lost to the Steelers last week. I think that they were potentially looking ahead to traveling overseas. It's not something they usually do.
Either that, or they just threw in the occasional bad game that every team has somewhere along the line.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Yeah,
I look at it this way: they were reasonably competitive, despite the fact that they had 6 turnovers to Pittsburgh's 1.
Yeah. Yeah,
and if you had told me that Pittsburgh won the turnover battle 6-1, I would have said they probably won the game by 20 points or more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The Colts, I suspect, will play better in this game. But then again, I think
I like some of the trade. I like the trade they made.
Yeah, that was
defense.
Right. Getting Sauce Gardner, because cornerback was a big problem for them. So now
how much of an impact he'll have, but he'll have a nice flight to Germany to study film on the plane.
Exactly. So he should be able to limit Drake London here. Before the trade, I thought this number was a touch too high. I made it like 4.5. The Falcons have been competitive in most of their games. Now they had the clunker against the Dolphins, and
I just trust the Colts more than I trust the Falcons. Falcons are capable of putting in a dud every week.
Yeah, for sure. That is certainly true. What I can't figure out is how these teams will play overseas. They could be more susceptible to jet lag, not just the players, but the coaches too. We saw that with Matt LaFleur when he had to travel to London. He missed a meeting, or was late to a meeting because he couldn't get the clock right. He was complaining about it. So it could be the coaches too.
Oh, just like in the ball games, you can't. No poor clock management.
Right, exactly. So I don't want to bet this game because there's too many unknowns here. If I had to choose a side, I think it would be Atlanta to keep the game close, but the Colts could easily win by double digits too. So I don't know. Do you have any play on this game?
No, I don't think I really do. I'm trying to remember. Let me get my letter out here and see what I put in there. I probably just looking at the two teams, I probably expect a better effort from the Colts after last week's. I don't know if it was a wake up call, but it's sort of like splashing your face after being in the doldrums and all that because you'd been playing at such a high level. I did like Atlanta last week a little bit against New England. I kept going back and forth on that one, and of course Atlanta with a missed extra point. Cost them the opportunity to win the game, but they did cover, and they had to come back from behind to cover as well because they were down 21-7, I think, at one point. Or
it looked ugly for a while.
Yeah, I do have Indianapolis minus the 6.5, but it's just a lean, so it means I don't. When I put something in as a lean, it's kind of like I'm probably not going to play it, but I also have the chance to switch to change my mind and go the other way on the game.
We feel the same way. Just opposite sides. We have leans on both these teams, so
I trust the Colts more.
I think,
their defense. I mean, the one concern I have is Atlanta's outstanding pass defense.
Yeah,
I think they lead the league as far as yardage is concerned, as far as pass defense goes, and they've been doing it. I think for the last several weeks, they've come up number 1 in my defensive rankings. In fact, I don't know if I have it right here as far as the overall rankings are. If I can find it, I'm not sure. I can. This should be it right here. Atlanta defensively is. No, I thought I had it here. So,
I as you're looking, I have them in number 7 in EPA. So
okay,
they're certainly
the point is it's better than a lot of people perceive with the Falcons.
Yeah, that's 100% true, and that's factoring in to the games in which they laid eggs against the Panthers and the Dolphins too. So, look, they're a couple of missed field goals away from potentially being 5-3. They missed the field goal at the end against the Buccaneers, and last week against the
they're actually in the raw just traditional standards. They are number 4 in defensive yards allowed per game, 282. Anything under 300 is generally very, very good.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, and I use that X factor where I kind of relate. If a team gives up the fourth fewest yards, they should allow the fourth fewest points. And if they don't, it's because of special teams and other sort of meltdowns. They are number 4 in defensive yards per game, but number 13 in points allowed per game. So that explains a little bit of their issues. There are several teams like that this year, and I have the numbers in front of me, so we can take a look at them when they come up. That's sort of like a measure of, well, I call that my measure of efficiency, the correlation, and so that tells me Atlanta, at least defensively, is a inefficient team. And the same thing goes for offense. They're 15th in offensive in yards, and they're 28th in points scored per game. And again, that has to do with turnovers. Although Atlanta does not turn the ball over, they just don't force a lot of turnovers, but they don't turn the ball over. Yeah. It's just, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I could probably imagine it probably means difficulty in the red zone.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Just John saying horrible teams lose, bad teams cover. Can you contact people at the Westgate to print those shirts?
Yeah, you still have that shirt?
I have every shirt that I just don't wear them because they're all long sleeve T-shirts.
Yeah,
I hate long sleeve. They haven't had a short sleeve T-shirt since 2012.
Yeah, has it been? I know it's been at least a decade. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I get some people like them. I never understood the appeal. Just if I'm gonna wear longer sleeves, it's gonna be like a hoodie or something, a sweatshirt. But if I want a T-shirt, I don't want to I don't know. It just feels like weird. I hate long
I generally do not like long sleeve shirts in general.
Yeah. I don't like. I haven't met many people who do. I don't know. My wife does. But other than that, I
guess when you have to go to a formal affair and wear a shirt and tie, you probably need to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to a formal affair in shorts, you probably should balance it off with a long sleeve shirt.
That's true. They need long sleeve shirts slightly short. Yes. Yeah, they do. I think they really have to go back to short sleeve. I don't know. I don't understand why they do this.
You know what? They don't have anymore, and they used to have all the time men's shirts with breast pockets.
Oh yeah.
Years ago, because people would put cigarettes, cigarette packs of cigarettes in there whenever they were smoking 50 years ago. Right. Now you can put your cell phone in it if they had it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. I don't.
I probably would have to go online. There probably are a lot of places that have it, but
yeah, well, we'll have to get one at the merch store. I don't know if that'll be possible, but I'll have to request it. Trade CeeDee Lamb, Brees, and Baker for Saquon and London. I don't need Baker. Okay. CeeDee Lamb, Brees, and Baker for Saquon and London. Saquon has done nothing this year, although before the bye he had a great game. It's the only one this year. And then London, it's close.
He's been an injury risk this year.
Who? Saquon?
London.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And I wonder about the Atlanta passing game.
Yeah, it's the only guy there. I don't know. The thing to remember here is that Saquon and London have had their buys. CeeDee Lamb has not. CeeDee Lamb is not. He has a bye this week. So you lose a game here with CeeDee Lamb. That's something to keep in mind.
How much improved do you think the Dallas Cowboys defense is as a result of the trades they made within the last 48 hours? Because if indeed you believe it is improved, that might very well mean that the defense might not be on the field as long, and the Cowboys might have more offensive possessions down the road.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Or on the other hand, they may not have to play from behind much if they're leading, so they may not have to throw to Lamb. I think Lamb took a slight hit for sure. I think I'd rather have. I think I'd rather Saquon in London. It's so close.
Well, who would you rather have throwing passes to CeeDee, Dak Prescott, or Penix?
Well, yeah,
to London.
To London. Well,
Who would you rather have as the quarterback for those two receivers?
Well, Prescott, obviously. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I just think that with CeeDee Lamb not having a bye, if he did this trade next week, I think I'd like it. or no, he's actually trading CeeDee Lamb. So I think I would like to trade. So I would like to trade now. I should say. I think that's better. It's super close though. I don't know. I had trouble discerning this one. Let's see. I've heard some people wear their socks inside out. Yes. Andy, did you know that about me? I wear my socks inside out.
I think you may have mentioned that once.
Yeah. It's so much more
The question is, do you switch like after 3 days and wear them, one side and then the other side?
3 days.
So you use the same pair. Yeah, you use like the same pair of socks for like 6 days. You wear them the regular way, and then you wear them inside out for 3 days.
I always wear them inside out.
And then you do laundry with your one pair of socks.
I usually rotate through 2 or 3 pairs of socks.
Okay.
It's like it's probably longer than 6 days. I do my laundry like once a month, really, just because.
Oh, as often as I shower.
Yeah, I don't.
I can see some people nodding their heads there. Probably, yeah, he probably does. Yeah.
Well, with 2 kids, it's hard to shower these days too. So I definitely hear that. I still smoke. Everyone cool smokes. Cassandra, come on, man. Do not run with inside out socks. Yeah,
it's a difference between smoking and being smoking hot.
Do not run with inside out socks. Yes, they're comfortable, but you do not exercise with them. That's certainly true. Okay.
What's the difference there?
Because you don't get the traction, and like you could slip and like twist your ankle.
Oh, I would think it would depend upon I guess it depends upon the kind of socks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it really does. But yeah, just don't work out. I don't want to be like liable for anything. So if you want to be more comfortable, wear your socks inside out. I'll say that.
Okay.
So what'd you say?
No, I said okay. That's reasonable advice. Yeah.
It is. I swear. I tell everyone this. If you take your socks inside out and put them on, you will never go back ever. Like you'll never go back. It's so much more comfortable. And I've talked to some people who just can't do it. Like this girl I used to know. I was like Jen, like she saw me do it. And she's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, Jen, try it.
Try it. You'll like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, I can't. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? Just try it. She's like, I can't. It's just like her. Just like she's like,
do it like we do with underwear when it comes out of the washer. If it's sometimes it comes in the inside out or outside in. Same thing with the socks.
Yeah. You can do that too, for sure. I have not tried that. I'll put that on my to-do list. Okay, so next game, we have Browns at the Jets.
So where did we decide with Indianapolis?
I think you had lean Indianapolis.
I lean Indy. I'm not sure I'll play it. Yeah. I could both teams are unless one team does it actually worked out for the Rams when they got there the day before the game. But I mean, unless there's a reason why there should be a difference, it's probably a big number to be laying to Atlanta on a neutral field that nobody's familiar. The majority of the players, there may have been some who played there with other teams, but the majority of the players on these 2 teams are unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing if they played in London before. This is a different country. I don't know how much of a difference that makes. But,
yeah, I mean, if I were to make a play, even though I have Indianapolis, I do that on the basis of talent, etc., and situation. But if I were to do it on the basis of simply, does the number make sense? I mean, what's your power rating number on Indianapolis versus Atlanta? I don't know if it's greater than 7 points. 7 points.
No, I have Indianapolis Group B, and Atlanta Group C. Okay. So that's 3-point difference, 3.5, depending on where you have them. So yeah, that's why I said I couldn't get to 6.5. I got to 4. I was even generous. I'm like, okay, give Indy 1 point better for being the better team with the short travel week.
Well, again, the only thing is we have to consider also Atlanta's defense.
Yeah.
It's better. Yeah. I mean, both teams' defense is better. We expect Indianapolis with Sauce coming over to be even better now. Atlanta, I don't know that they did all that much at the trade deadline, but they weren't really expecting to contend. So I would say if I look at it from a talent and overall team performance, I would be playing Indianapolis. If I'm going on where the quote unquote value is in the line, I think you'd have to take a look at Atlanta, especially hit 7, or you can pass the game, which is probably what I'll end up doing.
Yeah, I'll pass betting the game. I'll pass watching the game, or at least the first half, because it's too early. And also, I said this before
Too
when I
early.
bet
What time do you wake up on football Sundays?
10:50. 10, it's my alarm goes off I think 10:50, and then I have another one set
So that's
11:05.
like start of the second half in
Yeah,
in these European games.
yeah. Look,
Or
I get
actually, it's probably just going to halftime, an hour 20.
yeah. It's usually halftime. I usually wake up at halftime. I go to bed at 6 a.m. So like
Oh,
it's
that's a short enough hour sleep. Yeah.
I need 4 hours of sleep. Like anything less is a disaster. But four, I'm okay at four. 4.5, 5 is usually ideal for me. Um, I can't sleep more than that. I just
Yeah.
can't. Like I wake up. I feel like I'm refreshed. I need to do stuff. And I get up. Um, did Andy ever reveal his annual 2x2 futures Super Bowl wager? I know you had Rams
I made a
Chargers.
couple. I have Rams, Chargers, Rams, and I have Vikings, Broncos, and I have a couple of. I do have Ravens in there, which I'm still not. I'm not giving up on the Ravens. We'll talk
No,
about
I
them a
won't.
little later. I got the Bills. I think the Bills and the Eagles. I think I have back and forth. Don't recall if I did the Bengals or not. I know the team that I forgot to include was the Lions,
Okay. Okay.
which I don't know what I didn't like about the Lions, or maybe I just overlooked them. May have overlooked them because they were going to be they were so highly thought of. Um,
Yeah.
I did not include the Chiefs this year. I will say that.
Yeah, I remember you saying you didn't like the Chiefs heading into the season. So
Yeah.
I do have Rams with everyone. Well, by everyone I mean Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. I have the Eagles with everyone. Unfortunately, I have the Redskins and
Yeah,
Vikings with
I do
everyone.
have the Eagles also. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Rams looking good. Eagles looking good. Not so much Washington, Minnesota. Although Minnesota could. I wouldn't give up on them either. We'll see. I'm not feel too good about them, but I think they can at least make the playoffs. But
Problem with
let's
Minnesota, notwithstanding what McCarthy did, although he didn't play all that great, he didn't have great numbers, but their offense has been nowhere to be seen this year with all those great receivers.
yeah.
Wentz couldn't do anything, and McCarthy hasn't shown much. So we'll see. And the Baltimore defense, we'll talk about that, but Baltimore defense has shown signs of improvement. In fact, I'll just mention it right now. In the last 3 games, 2 wins and 1 loss, they gave up 17, 16, and 6 points, which is, I think it's about less than they've had in like 5 of their 6 games this year that they gave up more than that the combined total.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been better. So yeah, we'll get to them in a bit. John asking they didn't flex this Browns game. No, they did not. It would be fun to watch because
No, they
the
did, but the
ineptitude.
TV networks thought the league meant 1 a.m., not 1 p.m.
Right, yeah, exactly. So yeah, here the Browns are favored by 2.5. They were 1.5 point dogs before the
Until the
trade.
Jets trade, yeah.
Yeah, the 2 Jets trade, Sauce Gardner, Quinn Williams. And I like the Browns at plus 1.5 when before the trade. So my thinking here is that the Jets, I like a really a one-dimensional offense here, and we don't really know what Garrett Wilson's status is going to be. A team that just really can't throw all that well against a defense as great as the Browns. I feel like the Browns would have had a great matchup against the Jets, and they still do because the Jets didn't really do anything offensively, so that still stands. But the Jets lost 2 of the best defensive players. And so while the Browns can't really
can Cleveland take advantage on a yards per play basis? Cleveland ranks number 32, 4.1 yards per play. Jets a little bit. In fact, it's a big difference between Cleveland number 32 and the Jets number 28. 4.9 for the Jets, 4.1 for Cleveland. But of course, the Jets. What are you showing as the under in that game?
The total is 38.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say anything around 40 or higher would look under because the Jets have no offense, and neither really does Cleveland. The Cleveland defense is pretty good. Jets is maybe average in many respects.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean the Jets defense was It had some things going for it. I mean, it was still ranked very poorly, but it had some things. Quinn Williams, Sauce Gardner being able to take away the number one receiver. I don't think Sauce Gardner's absence will have any impact here.
The average total points. Cleveland 34.0 total points per game. Jets 63. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the numbers against common opponents, but it's still higher because of some of their high-scoring games with some bad defenses that they faced that they couldn't help but score against.
Right. So
yeah, in fact, here it is. The Cleveland is 38.8, and the Jets are 48.6.
Well, what are those numbers?
Average total combined points in games.
Okay. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So,
which would normally suggest, if you did just basic simple math, about a total of 43.
Yeah. So here, I feel like the Quinn Williams absence is going to be have a much greater impact in this game than Sauce Gardner, because Quinn Williams not going to be there to stop the run. Running the ball is the one thing the Browns do well offensively with Quinshon Judkins. Pass protection wise, Quinn Williams not going to be there, and the Jets already had at least heading into Week 9. The Jets had the fourth fewest pressures in the NFL, and Cleveland's offensive line is not very good. So that was maybe an area where the Jets could get to Dylan Gabriel a little bit, but now with Quinn Williams gone, I don't really see that happening. So I still like the Browns here, despite them being favored by 2.5 instead of being underdogs. I like this game a decent amount for Cleveland. So what do you think about this game?
I probably won't do anything with it because I can't trust either team. The Jets, where is it? The Jets average only about 1.4 defensive sacks per game. That's like in the bottom 5 of the league. So, they can't take advantage of some of Cleveland's weaknesses on offense. But I can't trust either team. I suppose even at 38, I would look under. But again, we don't have to play every game.
Yeah, I see this as, the Browns slaughtered the Dolphins 31-6. And I think this is going to be kind of similar. I mean,
that was at home.
Yeah, does home field really matter these days? I don't really see it. I don't know. Plus like I feel like the Jets at home probably worse than being on the road because their fans could really turn against them. So, and plus, I think you're gonna have some Cleveland fans in the stands. So I like Cleveland here, at -2.5. So let's get to the next game.
We're looking at Cleveland 3-5 against the spread. The Jets 4-4, so nothing particularly significant. I will mention, however, since we don't have a play this week, but we talked about Carolina, Cincinnati rather, who played the Jets 2 weeks ago. After playing the Jets 0-7 to the spread, 7-0 to the over. Cincinnati didn't cover. The game went over. Now 8-0 and 0-8.
That's pretty incredible. So
we won't have that. However, it would apply to Cleveland next week, which will be interesting because that 8-0 string to the over might end.
Yes, and the Cleveland plays Baltimore next week. So
the streak for 8-0 to the over might not end.
Right. So you mentioned the Browns being, what'd you say, 3-5 against the spread?
Yeah.
It's worth noting that against teams in Group C and worse, they are 2-2 against the spread. They've covered against the Dolphins and the Bengals. They lost to the Vikings, which they were very close to covering, and the Steelers. So 2-2 against the spread. They have not covered or been competitive against the upper echelon. They except for the Packers, they beat the Packers, but they got blown out by the Patriots. They got blown out by the Ravens. And they got blown out by the Lions. So this is much more favorable matchup for them, obviously.
I do show because I use ABC and I do base it on records.
Yeah.
The results, and I have ABC. Both the Jets and Cleveland are C teams, and they are both 1-1 straight up. Cleveland is 2-0 against fellow C teams. The Jets are 1-1. What I do like to take a look in situations with the pair of two C teams is how they do against the better teams in the league where they're getting more points. And as it turns out, against Group A teams, The Jets are 0-3 straight up, but 2-1 against the spread. Cleveland's 1-1 straight up because I had that win against Green Bay, I believe it was, and 1-1 against the spread, and no significance as far as the totals go. Although against those A teams, Cleveland's averaging 13 points per game, the Jets 16 points per game. Against fellow C teamers, Cleveland is averaging 23.5 in their 2 games, and the Jets 30.0 in their 2 games.
Who do you? You said the Jets have played 3 Group A teams. Who do you have as Group A against them? Because I see the Bills. I see the loss of the Bills.
Well, Denver's an A team.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I have them in Group C for myself. I could see the argument for.
Well, look, they're 4 against Denver. Well, Denver against the C teams 4-0 straight up, 1-3 against the point, so they're not covering. So, if you're looking at the ABC teams and covering the spread is a factor in those designations, which I'm guessing for you it might very well be. The other 8 teams, who did they play?
You said Denver, Bills, and
Tampa Bay is an A team.
Oh, Tampa. Okay.
Buffalo and Denver. I think those would be the A teams, and I think that's it.
Okay, but yeah, by your metrics, ABC.
By the way, if they played Seattle, that would be another A team. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I think by your metrics, I would have Denver and Tampa in Group B.
Yeah.
I have them in my metrics.
Well, my definition of an A team at any point during the season, and of course, it's a little bit more meaningful as the season goes on. Any team that is more than 2 games over 500.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
Yeah, more than so. In other words, 8-5 would be an A team. 7-5 would be a B team. And a C team is more than 2 games below 500. So 2-5 would be a C team. 3-5 would be a B team.
Do you ever, with that, distinguish? If a team has an easy schedule and they have a fraudulent record, do you?
Well, that's I still place it based on the record, but when I do the handicapping, those things come into play. We'll talk about that with one of the games coming up in a little bit.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, this game is Saints at the Panthers. The Panthers are 5.5-point favorites. So we've seen a couple of these sort of games. So by my metrics, the A through F, we've had a couple of Group F at Group D games this year.
Yeah.
For example, when Russell Wilson's
where do you have Carolina?
Group D.
D.
Yeah, D.
And where do you have New Orleans? F.
F. Yeah. So yeah, this is Group F for Group D. So we had the Giants at the Cowboys week 2.
By the way, I'm just going to ask you one thing. With a team that runs the ball as well as Carolina does, averaging 182, let me see what their numbers are against the league. But against Group C teams like New Orleans, they're averaging 182 yards per game and allowing 50 yards per game. But overall, Carolina is number 4 in rushing the football and number 18 in defending the football or defending the run.
Okay.
So, in fact, 140 yards per game for Carolina. It looks like that's now number 1 in the league.
Yeah, they've had some crazy games for sure.
That's not true. That's number 4 in the league. Buffalo, who I have listed right below them, because that's the next team that plays. 162 is number 1. That's still pretty good to be number 140 yards per game. That and have a winning record.
Yeah. So it's certainly true. But yeah, I mean, some outlier games, I think it's kind of hard to. I don't.
Yeah, but you can pick that apart about any guy. I can point to, and it's funny because people always say, "Well, forget what you remember. Don't base everything on what you saw last." And yet they go on, they talk about, "Well, last week this team did this." So right. So you can point out, because no team is unbeaten and no team is winless. You can always point out a good game that a bad team had and a bad game that a good team had. For example, last week, Indianapolis had its worst game of the season by far. Yeah. And now people are going to say, and they'll say, well, maybe what we saw last week against Pittsburgh was the true Indianapolis Colts. Well, you're overreacting. Yeah. Now, if they do it again this week against Atlanta, the first time it happens, it could be just a coincidence. Second time, it may be a little bit of a concern. If it happens a third time in a row, then you could say it's a trend.
Yeah, it was the saying one is an accident, two is a trend, three is a bona
Yeah.
fide problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. And it's funny if like the NFL season had started last week, people would be looking at the Colts like, they kind of suck. It's funny. It's like you just
Yeah.
kind of
Based
like
on one
look
game.
at like a one game.
It's like I tell people, especially for week one. And people make judgments based on week one. Now, if they make judgments based upon how they thought a team was going to play and they played it and they didn't get the result, that's different. But you don't know in week one if a team played its best game of the year, the worst game of the year, or a typical game of the year. You won't know that for a few weeks. So
That's true.
Now we don't know yet, but halfway through the season for Indianapolis, last week may very well have been their worst game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that, but based upon what they did before that game, you can still say Indianapolis is a good team.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It's all a matter of context.
Yeah. Which is, I ignore week one for that reason.
No, but I'm just saying that as an example. We don't know. We don't know even last week if it was Indianapolis' best game of the worst game of the year or not. But based upon what they had done leading up to that game, every team's going to throw in a clunker every now and then.
Oh yeah. It's so hard to find a team.
That's why you don't have a team that goes undefeated, and it's extremely rare to see a team that goes now it'd be 16-1. It used to be 15-1. Even the Chiefs last year, 15-2, great record. But as I pointed out when I took a look at those close game reversals, they were 6-0 in games decided by 3 points or less or in overtime. That 15-2 could have easily been 9-8.
Look at the Eagles last year. I mean, they got blown out by Tampa. They almost lost to the Browns at home. They almost lost to the Panthers at home. If Xavier Legette catches the pass, they lose to the Panthers at home.
Yeah. But they didn't.
Yeah. Right.
We can always make excuses for why they did or they didn't do something. And I know you disagree with your record is what your record is what your record is, because it takes into account all the plays that went your way, all the plays that didn't go your way. And in rare situations like that Arizona-Tennessee game, can you say, okay, that was a fluke, but maybe you have a half a dozen to 10 fluky games like that a year, because there were always chances that teams could have, would have, should have, didn't, because of plays that came for and against them during the game.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. But yeah, I mean my point is that every team gets clunkers here and there, so can't really judge them on that unless, like you said,
and you certainly don't want to judge them on that happening last week, right. Especially if it hadn't happened before. Now, if there were injuries involved last week, like Daniel Jones was out or something, right, then you might have been able to say something. But considering that the Colts, for the most part, have been very healthy, especially at the key positions.
Yeah. Cassandra's saying here, I love the Saints waiting to get a better 6, but I made this 3.5. I think I agree with that number. I make this? I made this 4. So we are very close on that. Again, this is what I like. I've seen Group F and Group D team games before, and Group D is covered, Group F covered in both instances where Giants and Cowboys and Jets at the Bengals. I just think this line's too high. I mean, the Panthers have a good record right now at 5-4. I think it's fraudulent, but we can dissect that if you want. But the thing about the Saints is that they have not played any team below Group C in my metrics, except for one, which was the Giants. They have played,
which was the game they won, yeah.
Right, the one game they won. They played so many tough games this year. They played the Bills, for example. They played the Bills, the Rams, the 49ers when they were healthier, the Seahawks, even the Bears, Buccaneers. Like they've played so many tough teams, and now they get a quote unquote easy game. In my opinion, I think the Saints are a good side here. We'll see what the Carolina offensive line injuries are, because they were missing a couple guys last week. It didn't really matter against Green Bay because Green Bay was a no-show. We'll get to that soon, but I do think this line is way too high. I'm with Cassandra here. I want a 6, but I will be on the Saints. What do you think about this game?
Probably won't play it because I think earlier in the week when the line was a little lower, I did like Carolina. But to your point, this is one of the things I track for all the teams. And again, I go by win-loss records because that's what the base playoff teams on. It's one thing to interpret them and use them in handicapping for something different. But I take a look, for example, at New Orleans. They are 1-8 8 straight up. The one team they beat is 2-6 against every other team in the league. That's the Giants.
Right.
The 8 teams that defeated the Saints are 37-21 against every team in the league other than the Saints, which is 63%, which is one of the best records. Trying to see of teams that played a decent number of games. If I can find someone who's even a little higher than that. Houston. Houston is 3-5. The teams they beat are 10-13, a little below 500. The teams that they lost to, excluding the losses and wins against Houston, those teams are 25-11.
Okay.
So Houston has played a very difficult schedule.
Yes.
Because the teams they've lost to have generally been good teams.
Yeah. Houston's had it pretty tough too. So, so you said you're not making a play on this game. Do you have a lean here, or?
Yeah, I lean Carolina.
Okay.
They're playing well. They can run the ball. The Saints, they played well early. They made the quarterback change, but their last 2 losses must have been by double digits.
Yeah, the Rams and Bucks.
The Rams, and I forget it was.
Rams and Buccaneers. So it is, much tougher opponents, I think, than the Panthers.
Well, the Panthers are playing. The Panthers are not that far out of wild card contention in the NFC.
Yeah. By the way, the Panthers' other 5 wins, 3 have been by 3 points. One was by 7. That was against the Jets, and then they had that 30-0 win against Atlanta. But
I know they beat Dallas by 3, and they had a couple of other 3-point wins in there.
But
they haven't played the Saints yet.
Yeah, that's true. They did beat the Jets only by 7. Obviously that would cover the spread, but it's I think it's still pretty close.
They did have that win against Atlanta.
Yeah,
Atlanta, which by the way shows that can be done, and it was a division game.
Yeah, I just think.
But then again, as I say, that might be the best game Carolina plays all year.
Yeah, and I think if the Saints show the level of effort that Atlanta had in that game, it might be 60-0. So hopefully the Saints are not a no-show. Well, I don't know if they're going to be tanking, but hopefully not.
Well, the other thing is you wonder what the Carolina picked up on the film about Shook, the Saints quarterback.
I'll say this, the Saints wanted a look at Chuck, and they didn't really get it. They held the ball for 16 minutes in that game. So, they didn't really get much film on him. So the teams may have to wait another week. So we'll see. That was staggering. 44-16 time of possession in that Rams. Saints
you don't see that very often.
No, that was crazy.
Well, you do, but not in a game that's 23-3. Yeah. Usually it might be like 42-6 or something.
Right. Okay. Next game is Bills at the Dolphins. Bills are favored by 9.5. To me, this is matchup versus spot. So, what do you believe in more? This is obviously a great matchup for the Bills. The Dolphins are so weak on both sides of the ball. Their offensive line is a disaster. The Bills have a really good pass rush. And the Bills' run defense should be better with Matt Milano in his second week back from injury. Usually takes him a little bit of time to get healthy, and maybe he'll be 100% this week or close to it. And then Miami's defense is a train wreck. They can't stop anything. So good luck against Josh Allen and James Cook. James Cook might be out. Even if he is, Ray Davis should have a good game against this awful run defense.
The thing is, on a yards per play basis, Miami is actually better. Miami allows 5.0 per rush. Buffalo allows 5.4.
Oh yeah, and look, Buffalo's run defense has been awful, but that has to do with Matt Milano being out for a long time.
And another measure that I do not use yards per attempt. It's a mean. That's the old apples and oranges, because that includes incomplete passes. I want to know when you complete passes, what's the average gain? That's much more significant to me.
Yeah,
Buffalo allows 11.0 yards per completion. Miami 10.4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you would think that both of them would be a little bit closer, given the fact that their yards per rush are both bad. Yards per play, Miami's worse than Buffalo by about 0.3. Let's see, turnovers. Buffalo's much better. Turnovers forced. Buffalo's a little bit better. quarterback sacks. They're both about the same as far as what they allow. Buffalo much better defensively as far as the pressure goes. 3.12
Yep.
sacks per game.
Yeah.
Miami records only a little bit over, well, just under 1.9.
Yeah, and the Dolphins just lost their best pass rusher, and Jalen Phillips going to the
Yeah.
Eagles. So he had 24% of their pressures, so that's gone. So yeah, it's going to be rough here for Miami for the matchup. However, the spot, Buffalo just won at Kansas City, or no, at home against Kansas City, I should say.
Over against Kansas.
Yeah. So
But is that a big deal because they win every year? And let me see what they do after beating Kansas City in the
2-2 against
regular
the
season last year.
2-2 against the
Let's
spread
see.
in the last 4 years. Yeah, while you look it up,
I was looking at Kansas City there. 2-2 is not significant. Does it show? Do you say who they played?
I don't know if I still have it up. I don't know. But
now another reason that might counteract and it may not necessarily be covering the spread, that may counteract a quote unquote potential letdown. It's a division game, and Buffalo has already lost a division game at home. They beat Miami on the road, so this is a chance for them to at least gain a 2-0 division record against an opponent, and they still have a chance to win at New England and square that series at 1-1. So Buffalo might take this one a little bit more seriously than had they not lost to New England at home.
See, I don't agree. Now it's hard to handicap motivation, but I don't see it that way. I see it as Bills coming off a huge win as an underdog, and then now they play a team they already beat. So, like, what's the motivation here? I feel like they probably
it's a division game, meaning that if it comes down to a tiebreaker with New England, this is an added win because New England already has that win in pocket against Buffalo. So it's an important game from that aspect. As I said, if Buffalo had beat New England at home as they were expected to do, this game, even though it's a division game, might not carry that kind of importance. And again, because Buffalo already knew but they had a tough time in that game. Down in Miami, I think, that Thursday night game.
Yeah. I think motivation is the wrong word. I think maybe urgency. Focus. Yeah, like how do you focus against a team you already beat? That's a terrible team after such a big win. I don't know. Like maybe they will. I think it's very difficult to handicap motivation unless you know the players in the locker room. You know what their state their state of mind is. So I think I would still side with the Bills just because they're the much better team, and I think there's a good chance they blow the Dolphins out. However, some of these games have been close. Like you said, the Thursday game was close. The second meeting last year was very close. It came down to the final play. So I don't know. I think there's a chance this might be a close one too, but I'm not going to be betting this one. And Slew brings up Dolphins fired their GM. I think that could be a motivating factor. Like usually when there's a firing or something, the teams they're kind of like, okay, like am I gonna be next? So they could be a little more motivated, Miami, at least because the season's lost, and if they beat the Bills, it's kind of like the Super Bowl almost. So again, this is a really tough game to handicap. I think. What do you think about this one? Because
this is a lean for me at Miami plus 9.5. I don't think I'm going to play it, and I don't know that I would even play it if it got to plus 10.
Okay.
Buffalo's the better team. I don't know if they would have a letdown because beating Kansas City has become routine for them in the regular season.
Yeah, that's true. Although, like, I can't imagine that ever being like that old. It's still the AFC. The reigning champion of the AFC. So we had someone, I think John brought up the Bills injury report. So Joey Bosa, DNP, James Cook, DNP, Vanessa, DNP, Taron Johnson, DNP, Daquan Jones, DNP, Josh Palmer, DNP, Shaq Thompson, DNP. So we'll see. It's still early, Miami, some DNPs as well. Chop Robinson, they already traded. It's funny, they traded Jalen Phillips. Now Chop Robinson's out with a concussion probably. So it's like, where is Miami's pass rush going to come from at all? So, yeah.
Where has it come from this season?
Well, Jalen Phillips. That's it. Like,
I'm saying, but even that wasn't all that great.
No, he was fine. He was solid. Like he was the only one getting to the quarterback. And now he's gone. Chad Robinson, who's just okay at it, he's gone. Or concussion at least this week. So yeah, look, it's a lot of the MPs here, but it's only Wednesday, and things could clear up eventually.
Buffalo's wins have come against teams that are 17 and 29 against the rest of the league, which is 37%. The teams they've lost to are 8 and 7 against everybody else. Miami's teams that they've lost to are 29 and 24 against everybody else, and their 2 wins have come against teams that are 4 and 10 against everybody else. So, they've beaten teams that they're capable of beating, and they've lost to teams that are better than them. And of course, that does include the first loss to Buffalo. So even if you take that out, if you take Miami's loss to Buffalo out, it's 23 and 22. The other 6 losses that they have.
Okay. Well, so you said you're leaning Buffalo. Is that what you said, or
no? I lean Miami, but I don't think I'm going to play it. And even if it went to 10, I don't think I'd play it.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. We don't like this game very much, so we can move on. The next game is Jaguars at the Texans. Jaguars are favored by 1.5. It was announced today that CJ Stroud is out, so Davis Mills will start. Despite Davis Mills starting, I actually like Houston here. I think they have a really good matchup against Jacksonville's offensive line. The Jaguars allow the eighth most pressures in the NFL. We know how really talented Houston's defensive line is, so they should be able to get to Trevor Lawrence quite a bit. And if you look at how the Jaguars have played this year, every team they've played with a really good pass rush, they've really struggled against. And obviously Houston, I know they beat Houston in the first matchup, but they barely scored. And Houston was in a position to win, but Nico Collins fumbled, and then Jaguars took over and won the game. So I don't expect much from Jacksonville's offense at all. Houston's offense, obviously not very much either from Davis Mills, but at least they have Nico Collins healthy. And I think that I just like Houston to kind of dominate the trenches here. So I like the fact that they're home underdogs. So I'm on Houston here. Not like a huge play, but like medium sized play. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, this is one that I'll probably play, and I'll probably play in the contest as well. I do like Houston. Take a look at common opponents this year. They have been 3 of them. Both are 1-2 straight up, 1-2 against the spread. But Houston's average loss in those, their average margin in the 3 games, the 1 win and the 2 losses, is minus 0.7. Jacksonville's margin, minus 10.3. The yardage in those 3 games, Jacksonville's been outgained by an average of 17 yards per game. Houston's actually outgained those 3 foes by 26 yards per game. Turnover differential, not much different. Jacksonville has put up the better offensive. Let me see here. No, I'm sorry. Houston has actually put up yards per play basis, slightly better numbers, and a little bit more than slightly better, but not huge numbers better defensively as well. So against teams that they've each played, Houston has the edge. But even before I did this analysis, I was on Houston.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so glad that we agree on that one. We'll go to the next game, which is Ravens at the Vikings. Ravens are favored by 4 or 4.5, depending on where you look. I hate that these teams are playing against each other. I talked about on the site. It kind of says as rooting for like which one of my kids I like the most. I think these 2 teams are play on teams. Obviously depending on the situation, injuries and whatnot. But second half of the year is because these teams both have underwhelming records, but they're both healthier than they've ever been all year. You have the Ravens, their entire defense back 2 weeks ago. Lamar Jackson came back last week. He didn't look all that great. But, as in the first half, he looked a little, hesitant to, and he made some bad throws. But second half, he played much better. And I suspect, especially given the mini bye, he should be a lot better this week. And he's really good against the blitz. We should really note that because the Vikings blitz more than any other team in the NFL. The Vikings, meanwhile, they got both tackles back last week. Christian Darrisaw played great. Andrew Van Ginkel played a full game for the first time all year, and he looked awesome.
Is he on the injury report this week?
Let's look. Let's look. So, he played a great game. Let's see. Vikings. I don't not see Andrew Van Ginkel.
Okay,
DMPs
yeah, I thought
were
I'd
Aaron
seen him.
Jones, Harrison Smith, not as rest.
Yeah.
So I don't see Andrew Van Ginkel there. So yeah, he's. I don't like first game players coming back for the first game sometimes don't really play all that well, but he was amazing. Made such a big difference. So when you have a healthy Vikings team, which I thought they were a Super Bowl sleeper, at the very least, a playoff contender if McCarthy could play well. Now we haven't seen that.
Yeah,
But
well, remember
still,
they were 14-3 last year, so it's
yeah,
not like
yeah,
and obviously Sam Darnold had a career year,
mhm,
and we didn't know what we're going to get, and we still don't know what we're going to get from McCarthy because as nicely as they won last week, he did not have an especially great game. I mean,
mhm,
his stats were rather mediocre. What he passed for under 200 yards,
yeah.
2 TDs, 1 interception. I think the quarterback rating was maybe somewhere in the 80s or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I said, I like both these teams a lot. I wish they weren't playing against each other, but I think maybe the loser of this game's maybe going to be a good bet next week. I'm not really sure who their opponents are, but I would lean Minnesota just because I think this is going to be a closer game. My numbers actually say Ravens, I think -2.5, so I think this number's a touch too high. What do you think about this game? Because I'm leaning Minnesota, but I don't have a big opinion on it.
No, I like Baltimore in this one. I want to see which way the line goes before I make a wager. It's obviously critical for them, and they've been helped with some of the recent results that still have them in contention in the AFC North to win the division, not just make the playoffs. Here's their schedule the rest of the way. There may only be one other game this year where they will be an underdog. Okay, they're at Minnesota, then they're at Cleveland, host the Jets, host Cincinnati, host Pittsburgh, at Cincinnati again, host New England. I think they'll be favored at that game against New England. At Green Bay, that's the one where they may be the underdog, and then at Pittsburgh. And we don't know what that'll mean in Week 18. So
Right.
That's why it was difficult to write Baltimore off, despite their poor start. I mean, take a look at the teams that Baltimore played at the start of the season.
Yeah.
At Buffalo, they lost that one. That was a crazy 41-40 game. Cleveland, okay. Detroit, okay. Buffalo, a playoff team from last year. Detroit, a playoff team from last year. Kansas City, a playoff team from last year. Houston, a playoff team from last year. LA Rams, a playoff team from last year. Open Date, playoff team from Chicago, and then Miami, which is the 2 games they won after the bye, and then Minnesota. So you're looking at what I say. Assuming if they can beat Minnesota, they could win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. Before they would have to play Green Bay and at 2 road games to end the season at Green Bay and Pittsburgh. So as much as I do like the Vikings, I trust Lamar more than I trust McCarthy. The Baltimore defense, as I mentioned, at least certainly in terms of points allowed, they lost in that 17-3 game to the Rams. Then they allowed 16 points. What was it in the game against Chicago? And 6 points. My math was off when I made a reference before because I had it down as 3, so I must have written it incorrectly in the 28-6 win against Miami. Now, obviously, the last 2 games against Miami and Chicago don't say all that much. But the 17 points that they allowed to the Rams speaks nicely of some improvement in the defense. I forget what the numbers were, the yards-wise in that game, but I do see Baltimore getting healthier. And again, the pressure becomes less on the defense as long as Lamar stays healthy.
Yeah,
because Baltimore will score some points. Look what they scored in their first 2 games. What they scored: 41 again, or 40 against Buffalo. I think 41 against Cleveland, and I think they had put 30 on the board. Or maybe I don't remember how much. What was that against Kansas City? The game he got injured.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. I think he got injured in the second quarter, and I think they ended up with 30 in the game.
Yeah, I know. Justice Hill had a long run or something toward the end to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So they can score a lot. Obviously, we'll see what they do against Brian Flores, but with Van Ginkel, as Slew brings up, Vikings with Van Ginkel, like the Chargers with both teams play much better. Yeah, I mean, Van Ginkel's a special player. So
just like the Ravens with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I mean,
all teams are going to play better with when their starters are in there. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Eagles with Lane Johnson, like night and day when he's out. So,
I also like both of these teams. And obviously there's a sense of urgency, but you also have to wonder how Minnesota feels. Is Minnesota like Buffalo, coming off of the big win last week against a team that annihilated them in a game that meant the division title last year?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the difference is that they're underdogs here, so like there's gonna be more of a sense of urgency against Baltimore than it would be like if
No,
they if
there's a great sense of urgency for Baltimore given their start to the season against that schedule.
no, I mean Minnesota. I think
No,
like
I'm
sense of
saying that,
urgency
that
in
this.
Minnesota.
No, I think the greatest sense of urgency for Baltimore.
Um, I don't
I mean,
know.
well, you know what? I'm going to take that back because Minnesota, in the division they're playing with Green Bay and Detroit,
Yeah,
okay, they also have a sense of urgency in because they've got two competitors. Baltimore, their competitor, and we don't know how they're going to play, is Pittsburgh.
yeah. I mean Baltimore. It's funny that they're behind in the division. They're minus 140 to win the AFC North right
Yeah, well,
now.
that's because they were just listening and they listened to me rattle off all these teams that they
That's
could
right.
win six. Even if they lose to Minnesota, they still will be favored to win their next 6 games.
Yep. Yeah, no, they will. So
Yeah.
I
So
could see them running the table. Like, given that
yeah,
schedule, given their talent, like they could certainly do it. So
and I like the
I
coach and I like the running
yeah,
back. And I'm disappointed at Minnesota. And yeah, you can blame it on Wentz, but those receivers that they have not been, you know, have not translated into points. Take a look at the points that Minnesota scored. I think they've topped 27 points maybe just once this season.
yeah. Well, they've had offensive line issues. Both tackles were
Yeah.
out for a while, and now they're healthy. So they've gotten healthy on both sides of the ball. That's kind of why I
Yeah.
like Minnesota here as well. I like both teams going forward, as I said. So we'll see what happens after
Well,
this
also
game.
let's see how McCarthy. Remember, he's still a rookie. I mean, yeah, he's his
No.
second year. It's only making his fourth NFL start. Now it is at home, okay, and he didn't play all that great last week, but he played well enough, and Detroit helped him in that game, but by not playing well.
Mhm.
Uh, but let's see what Baltimore, who generally has a very good defense, and again, we may have seen signs of some improvement recently. Let's say what they do. Harbaugh's an experienced coach. Let's see what they do. I mean, I like the Minnesota coach as well, but I think that even he would admit he's got the second best quarterback in this game.
Yeah, I would say so. I would look at the Vikings next week if they lose this game. They host Chicago, and the advanced line is only 2.5, which I
Yeah.
find shocking. Like Minnesota, much better than Chicago, despite the records.
Well, they beat
So
it. They beat him in Chicago on opening night.
yeah, no, yeah, they did.
That's where McCarthy had the. That's when he had there was 3 bad quarters and the 1 quarter that counted.
Yeah, and
And
it's
then
first
stuck
game,
it up
so
the next week. Yeah.
right, it's first game, so he should play better. And Minnesota had a bunch of injuries in that game too. So I believe Van Ginkel did not play in that game. If I remember,
It was also the
correctly.
first game for Chicago with Ben Johnson.
Yeah. I remember talking to you about that one. Yeah,
But
Van
as
Ginkel
you
did play
said,
that one.
the game
Yeah,
means nothing to you because it was week 1.
exactly.
I
Yeah, no,
mean, when I say
that's
it means
true.
nothing, it's not included in your evaluation because you didn't know what to expect. And I can understand it. We didn't and then like I said, we don't know when we see the results of week 1. Is that
Mhm.
their best, their worst, somewhere in between, or their typical game? We won't know that
Right.
until the end. When you go back at the end of the season, when I go back at the end of the season, I kind of rate each team's retrospectively as to where that stood as far as the best and worst efforts. I sort of rank them in terms of I use something called game value, which measures the way they played the game using some of the basic statistics and rank the games and see which was the did they play their best games at the start or at the middle, at the end, or were they evenly spread out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think game value is a good way of classifying as
Yeah.
sense of urgency that what we were talking about before. All right. So
Well,
anyway,
sense
yeah,
of urgency is something that we attach to a game.
right.
The coaches attach sense of urgency to every game.
Or at least I would think so. I don't know. Like I think maybe the great
I
coaches
don't see
would.
McDermott going in there and saying to the Bills, "You really don't have to worry about this. This is not an urgent game. You guys are much better. Just go out there and don't make mistakes."
Okay, maybe not McDermott, but Raheem Morris, I could see just not game planning.
Yeah.
The Carolina game, for instance. No, it's not really that. It's just like as a player, it's like, oh, we already beat this team. We'll handle them. We'll be fine. We'll be
Yeah.
fine. I think that's how I would. I don't know what word.
But you know
can
what? I
describe it
would like
best.
to know if players would ever admit to having that point of view, because it makes sense that there are reasons for them to have that point of view, but the fact that there are reasons, and sometimes very good reasons, doesn't mean it's actuality. So unless I hear players say, yeah, we take certain games off because we think it's not going to be easy and we got a bigger opponent come up, then I will believe it. But I don't believe it because a sports writer writes it or because you and I talk about it. I want to know it from the player's point of view, because that's really what we're handicapping on. What do the players think? We could think they may not take it seriously because it's a soft spot in the schedule, but that doesn't mean that it's reality. It means that it's possible.
It's not. I don't like, even if I don't think they'd ever admit it, but I think that if you're studying film on a team that you already beat and has a terrible record, and you're coming off a huge win, like, are your eyes glazed over a little bit?
I think that depends on the individual player. I'm sure. I'm sure Tom Brady didn't have glazed over eyes very often.
Yeah, well, Tom Brady's certainly one of a kind.
No, what I'm talking about, those, and there's more than one Tom Brady type of player on most teams.
Right.
And then there are the ones that don't care whether they're 8-1 or 1-8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. But you're talking about 53 players, not one singular person.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. We've got different, but I mean, how many players, if they took a lie detector test, would admit that, yeah, we took the game off, and we do that on occasion because it's a long season, we get banged up, and we can't have the same energy level each week. All of which makes sense, but the fact that it makes sense doesn't mean that it happens. It just makes sense.
I mean, like, it's a long season. Players get banged up. Like they may want to just oh man, it's like, hey, we could.
I mean, they're not going to be like Anthony Richardson and ask out of a game.
Right.
Okay,
right. Right, exactly. So yeah,
that's the extreme example, though. What's that?
I'm too tired. I have to leave. It's just like we've seen that, at least from him. But no,
see that because that goes against the basic mentality of the athlete, and also if you're not taking a team, if you're taking a team lightly, you're susceptible to getting injured out there too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
That's why I is it 100%? Is it 90%? Probably not. But I'd have to say that the vast majority of players don't overlook a foe. Maybe they'll rest for a play, but I mean, as far as the majority of the game, I think they go out there trying to win. Now, maybe they let up a little bit if they're down 31-3 or up 31-3. But going into the game, the mentality of the athlete, they've always been taught that they know how to win, that they can win, that we can win. We're going to have adversity, but we can overcome it and all that. That's just part of the mentality.
Well, I think there's definitely a difference. If a team has lost 2 in a row or something, and they feel like they need to win the game, like I think they would obviously try harder than a team that's won a few games in a row and just beat their big rival and is playing a team with a horrible record, a team they already beat this year. Not every player is going to.
Look, the Jets showed they wanted that game against Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, yeah,
winless at the time.
They did, yeah.
They're going to give it up on the season, and maybe they will down the road. Well, let's see how they play this week, where everybody is counting them out after they got rid of one of their best players, 2 of their best players, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, given that they're a horrible team coming off a win, I wouldn't really be.
Well, they're
too
coming
optimistic.
off a bye. They're coming off a bye.
Well,
the win is the distance in the past. Yeah.
Well, I feel like a win and then a bye is even worse, because for 2 weeks you're hearing about, oh, how great win, great job.
I think that lessens that potential overconfidence factor because of the time that has elapsed over the 2 weeks, and now they can say, hey, that was a good feeling, we proved we could do it, now let's prove we can do it again.
I don't know. I thought about it the other way. I thought teams coming off a win and a bye, they get to hear about how great they are for 2 weeks, and there's less sense of urgency to win another game.
Now, let me ask you this question. I don't know if you can look it up, but let's say teams are unbeaten through their first 6 games, and then they finally lose a game. What do they do in that next game? Do they rebound and win again, or do they suffer sort of like when a streak is ended in many sports? When a long winning streak is ended and you lose the next game. When you have a losing streak ends and you win a game, you win the next game. In other words, there's a carryover effect from a long streak. I guess I could say in football, it might be 4 in a row because it's such a short schedule. But I'm going to say being unbeaten 6 games into the season is a significant amount of time where a team might not respond well when they finally realize our dreams of an unbeaten season are gone, and they send and they receive thank you notes from the 72 Dolphins.
All right, so you're looking at teams starting at 6-0 or better and then lose their game.
Yeah, what do they do the following game?
Okay. They are 18-24 against the spread.
What are they straight up?
25-17.
Okay, so they bounce back, but they're laying too big of a number that turns out to be too big.
Yes. There was one team that applied to last year, which was the Chiefs. Who they lose to? The Chiefs. They lost to the Bills, right? They lost to the Bills.
Yeah, okay.
And then the next week they played the Panthers. They won 30-27 as 11-point favorites.
So they won but didn't cover. Was that home or road?
Road.
Okay.
Yeah. So looks like 42.9% cover rate, but 59.5% win rate outright. Yeah. So makes sense.
In other words, it may make a money line bet, but it may be a high price.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I mean, it makes sense too that they would be a little rattled, and so anyway, let's get to the next game. We have Patriots at the Buccaneers.
How did we get on that subject? What were we talking about? Because it was Baltimore, Minnesota.
I don't know.
We got sidetracked somehow. As we often do.
Which is fine. Yeah, I love these conversations. And I imagine people watching do as well. So we have.
If the viewership numbers are going up instead of going down, that would be not necessarily indicative because it'd be different people, but.
No, I mean, including X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, we have 373 people watching. So, 18 on YouTube, 2 on Twitch, and then 350.
By the way, I do write up this game on Baltimore, and I do say it's hard to assess Baltimore's stats for the full season due to Jackson's prolonged absence. But it can be said from the last 3 games, the defense has improved, even to the 2 of them without him. Mm-hmm. But the defensive numbers. A large part of it early in the season, after Jackson got injured in the first part of Game 3, was because there was, and the defense had struggled before then, but there was even more pressure put on them now with him being out.
So, I know you like Baltimore. Do you like him as a lean or high amount or medium amount? Like, how much do you like him?
More than a lean, it'll probably be a play.
Okay.
I just don't know to what extent.
Okay. All right.
I'm almost certain it'll be on at least one of my contest cards, either Westgate or Super.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I won't be playing this one. So, I would anyone who wants to bet this one, I would urge to follow Andy on this one because I don't have a good opinion on this game. By
the way, I would not be shocked if Minnesota wins the game. I mean, I have them as a good team.
Yep.
But I'm just going with I'm going based on overall talent and the fact that, and I said urgent. I would actually rate the urgency level as fairly even for both teams because they are in somewhat similar situations. You might argue that Minnesota is in a more dire situation because they're competing against Green Bay and Detroit, whereas Baltimore is competing basically against Pittsburgh, and we really don't know how good Pittsburgh is. We may find out that last week's effort was their outlier for the season,
right? For
the Steelers. But when I take a look at the overall talent, and again, the key difference is at quarterback with 2-time MVP going up against a guy making his 4th start against a team that historically has played. Excellent defense. Does it show? I don't know if your database is that way. Does it show how coaches do against rookie quarterbacks?
No, they do not. So I know John Harbaugh has a good record against rookie quarterbacks, but I wouldn't classify McCarthy's rookie. Even though he, his first year as a starter, it would. I know.
Well, why wouldn't you classify him as a rookie if he's only played 3 games?
I mean, he was in the league last year. Like he was learning.
Yeah, well, he was, but he didn't play. I mean, he he was. It's like maybe it's like auditing a class at college. That's basically what he did. But until you're
Yeah.
out there and the coach is actually coaching you in game situations,
Well,
I mean, he's obviously a smart guy. Went to Michigan, so maybe he was able to pick up a lot. But even picking up a lot about reading defenses and things is a lot different when you're studying about it, as opposed to
mhm.
actually in real time having to identify them.
Well, I mean, he's not eligible for rookie of the year, you know.
No,
And I think
no. I'm saying in practical purposes, he's a rookie. In experience purposes, he's a rookie.
sure. I don't know. I mean, like being able to learn from pros like up close like that, and traveling with the team and watching film with the coach.
That's still no
Mental health coach.
substitution for playing.
Yeah, I know, but it's still
Because of
something.
your development. I mean, take a look at how often it takes offensive linemen to develop. It's
Yeah,
technique, learning from your mistakes. Well, he hasn't had a chance to make many mistakes yet because he hasn't played. Ergo, he hasn't had a chance to learn from those mistakes.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to learn from seeing your replacement make mistakes,
Mhm.
but it's not the same because when it's your mistakes, you have to learn as far as your decision process goes in similar situations in the future.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I just I don't know. I think that it's something like it's not a full, obviously not a full rookie year that he had,
Yeah.
but he at least was
Well,
around.
there wasn't any rookie year that he had as far as experience goes,
Yeah, but
playing
like,
experience.
but it's not like he's right out of college. Like he was there for a year. Like you said, like he was like an intern almost, but he's still there.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I wouldn't classify as rookie because I haven't classified like the other
Well, I
situations
wouldn't
as
classify
rookies, you know?
Drake May as a rookie. He played a fair amount last year, did so successfully, and carried it over to this year.
Right. Well, like
In
Patrick
other
Mahomes'
words, well,
first
let
year.
me phrase it differently.
Yeah.
Drake May has already made his rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy is going through the process of making rookie mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. Or he may not be that good anyway. You know.
No, or he may be very good and not make more rookie mistakes that other rookies have.
Yeah.
But he's been
Yeah.
questioned on some of his decision making, and it's natural. I actually like him as a quarterback.
Oh, you do.
I mean, he didn't really come from a pass happy offense in Michigan, but that's the other Harbaugh.
I was surprised he went 10th overall. I thought he'd go later.
Yeah, I thought he was a little bit higher. I mean a little bit lower, higher number.
Right. I thought he and Nix would go later.
Yeah.
But
Well, Sean Payton was obviously in love with Bo Nix.
He was. He's the only one.
I mean, and he said so.
Yeah, he was the only one.
And
really,
but he's played better, I think, than a lot of scouts expected him to play this soon.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have as high a ceiling as maybe Peyton thinks, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, he's been fine.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been bad. I don't think he's been that great, but he's been okay. And he could get better, but like you said, the ceiling is lower than obviously May and Daniels and
even Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, which I guess I'd put Nick's fourth among that class so far. And then Penix 5, McCarthy 6.
Yeah, I suppose so. We don't know about Shook yet.
Right. Well, no, Shuck was this year.
This year, okay. Yeah, I was thinking of last year.
Yeah. We got the Ravens at -3. Weren't looking back. I'm fine fading rookie / non-rookie JJ. He's getting way too much press this week. Is that true? He's getting press this week. Maybe in
Minnesota. Maybe in Minnesota and Baltimore he is.
Yeah, I mean, coming off the win against Detroit, it's a big deal,
Yeah.
Although Detroit lost.
Yeah, I mean, it could. And again, I don't know if there's a little bit of a letdown situation. I mean, Minnesota is in a similar situation to Kansas City when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, Minnesota, Kansas City, Baltimore, all teams that started slowly and certainly capable of winning more games. So yeah, like I said, if the Vikings lose this game, I like them against Chicago next week. Might even see a more favorable number than -2.5. All right, so let's move on to Patriots and Buccaneers. Buccaneers are -2.5. This is the game this week that I really couldn't figure out.
This is the game. This is the first game I had an opinion on. So go ahead.
Oh, really? Okay, I'd love to hear it
Yeah.
because, look, New England's been great and everything, but I don't know if how well they match up against Tampa. Tampa is really good against mobile quarterbacks. Like they tend to clamp down on mobile quarterbacks. Tampa gets after the quarterback very, very well. They are very high in pressure rate. In terms of pressure rate, let me say they are number 2 in the NFL in pressures this year. Well, heading into week 9, I didn't update my numbers through week 9 yet. They're number 2 heading into week 9, and obviously they didn't play, but still. So they can get after the quarterback. They can stop mobile quarterbacks. And they might get Luke Goedeke back, one of their linemen who's really talented. He's going to be practicing this week, so he may play for the first time. So all these factors really good for Tampa. But Tampa, they have a horrible home field advantage, like one of the worst home field advantages in the NFL. So I don't think they really deserve to get any points just based on their track record. And plus, I really don't want to fade Drake May. I mean, he's been awesome. The Patriots team has been great overall. They've had some challenges recently. The Browns defense, for example, Atlanta, as you mentioned, great top 10 defense. They've overcome those challenges, and so despite Tampa seemingly having a good matchup against the Patriots, I think the Patriots could overcome it and win this game. So I don't know what to make of it. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about this game. So I don't have a clue about it, as Cassandra agrees, no clue. So Andy, who do you like in this game?
I love Tampa Bay.
Okay,
I love them in this game. Who's New England played besides Buffalo? Well, I'll tell you who New England's played besides Buffalo.
No one.
They are 7-2. Those 7 wins have come against teams that are 20-33 against the rest of the NFL outside of the Patriots. The teams that they have lost to, the 2 teams, the Raiders and who's the other one they lost to? New England.
Steelers.
Steelers, yeah, 5-9 against the rest of the league. Yeah. So they've not beaten, other than Buffalo. That's really the only game that has any significance. Tampa Bay's have been a little bit more competitive, but their record is not quite as bad. Their 6 wins have come against opponents who are 20-24. Their 2 losses have come to teams who are 9-5. So, and my numbers show that Tampa Bay has overall played a significantly greater strength of schedule. In fact, one of the things I do, I adjust my power rating. I take a look at my raw rating, which has Tampa Bay having played a schedule 4.25 points better than New England. New England's opponents, the average margin of all of their opponents is minus 5.6 points per game. The average margin of Tampa Bay, and this includes the games against Tampa, just overall, Tampa Bay's opponents overall plus 0.4 points per game. So New England has really played teams that are losing records, but their collective losing record, even with that Buffalo in there, is still minus 5.6 points per game. Tampa Bay's, even with the games that they've played that have not been against good teams, still overall the opponents are averaging 2.4 points per game to the positive in that. So, I mean, that's just a different thing. They are coming off of a bye week, which I think helps them. They've had an ability to win close games. I think their last well, you have their schedule. What did Tampa Bay do when they won?
Sorry, you broke up
by
there.
margins.
You broke up there. What did you say?
Yeah, Tampa Bay in their last few wins. What were the margins?
So they beat the Saints by margin. They beat the Saints by 20. Let's see. They lost. They beat the Niners by 11 points.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
The Seahawks by 3.
On the road.
But they lost to Detroit by 15.
Yeah.
So
also on the road. Well, Detroit's one of the 2 teams they've lost to.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I was going to say, as good as New England is 6-3 against the spread against weak teams, Tampa Bay against a better schedule is 5-3 because they played 1 game less because they've already had their bye. Against the points overall, New England's overall opponents, and this includes games against New England. New England's opponents are 33-43 against the spread. Tampa Bay's opponents are 34-31-1 against the spread.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. Like, I mean, the Patriots' schedule has been very easy, except for the Buffalo game, which they won. But still, like, to me, the fact that they've blown out many of the teams they played, I think, says that they are better than that. And it's like you can only play the teams you.
That's what I said about Seattle.
Right, but my counter to Seattle, at least before last week, was that they hadn't blown out anyone except for the Saints. So like,
that still counts.
Right, but like the Patriots.
Again, who are the teams that New England blew out?
Yeah, I know. I agree. They've blown out bad teams, but like at least they've blown teams out. Whereas Seattle, they played close games against those teams, except for the Saints. But I mean, look, Seattle looked great on the Sunday night. So I definitely adjusted for that. But
where do you have them now? Still in what do you have them in, a C or a D before?
I had them in C. Now I have them in B.
Okay.
So
you're coming around.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Washington could just be that bad, but it's
not going to get any better. We'll talk about them in a little bit.
Yeah,
in fact, several games ahead of now. Now.
Yeah. Luke says I pulled the trigger on Bucks first half money line and Bucks money line. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cassandra says make this Tampa -1.5 before situational handicaps was worth. What did I make this game? I made this game. I made this game pick 'em, so we're pretty close there. So
my actual numbers, without accounting for quality of opposition, did make this game pick 'em.
Okay, so we agree there. Yeah. We did have I missed one comment here, or one question. Bryce asking, I got to start one May or Knicks. I would say definitely May. Despite
Denver
despite
Denver against Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tampa's a decent defensive team. Raiders are not.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's certainly
playing
true.
in altitude.
Yeah, I wonder if the Broncos just gonna be so far ahead that he may not have to throw at all in the second half. So it's my worry. Denver could easily get 2 defensive touchdowns.
What did Denver do? What did Denver do quarterback wise with Knicks when they were blowing out Cincinnati on that Monday night game, which this one sort of resembles? It could be the same.
Knicks in that game was the 326 2-1 with one rushing.
No, but I mean, how many passes did he attempt and complete?
42.
And that was with a big lead.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So, and this is a division game for Denver, and I don't know where down the road it comes down, but point differential is, I think, maybe the 5th or 6th when it comes to breaking divisional tiebreakers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's certainly true. Yeah, I mean it's close. I just trust Drake May more. I think he's better, but I can understand the argument behind Knicks. Would you start Knicks over May?
Only because of the different the variation of the defenses they're facing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Tampa Bay, you mentioned something about pressures and everything, and I take a look at those those sack numbers. Now, I don't know if anyone else has thrown a pass for New England, but New England is allowing 3.78 sacks per game. Tampa Bay allows 2.12. Tampa Bay sacks the opponent 3.12. And New England sacks 2.22. So a little bit of edge both ways. I mean, not a great number, but you don't have a lot of sacks in games. So the difference between 3 and 4, could be significant as far as, showing an advantage for one team versus the other. And it looks as though Tampa has the advantage both in avoiding them on offense by, 1.6 sacks per game and having 0.9 sacks, defensive sacks more per game. In a game of 70 plays where there might, in other words, if there are 7 sacks in the game, you figure Tampa Bay has a good chance of having 4 of them or 5 of them. New England might have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Mayfield's also a tough guy.
Yeah. I mean, Drake May took 5 sacks from Myles Garrett in the Cleveland game, and yet the Patriots still blew out the Browns.
Yeah.
So it could still happen. It could happen both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like Tampa more?
I really like Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Okay. It's
yes.
Contest play.
Yes. In fact, I think in the Wise Guys contest with Mark Lawrence that I'm one of a number of handicaps. Did real well in that one last year. Tampa Bay's my best bet.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So all right, next game is Giants at the Bears. Bears are -4.5. This I don't know. I don't know about this game. So the Giants, with Cam Scatabo out, just a completely different offense. Like they didn't have Malik Neighbors, but they at least had Scatabo to make plays, and
Yeah.
now they don't have any skill players to make plays. Like Tyron Tracy, big disappointment coming off last year's solid result.
And they were never really competitive in the game against the 49ers.
Yeah. No, they weren't, and they have not been
And
competitive.
that was at home on turf.
Yeah, they have not been competitive since Scatabo got injured. I said this last week.
Well, that was only that was the 2 games, right? Was he injured before the second Philly game?
He got injured during the game.
Okay, yeah.
It was second quarter he got injured, and I said this last week. As soon as that happened, I saw how dejected the Giants players were, and I'm like, oh, Scatabo means so much. I live bet the Eagles, and they ended up covering the live line pretty easily.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, so like the Giants completely different without Scatabo.
Because the Giants were a popular contest play, if I recall, that week, getting the 7.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
Because Philadelphia had not had a good game really in quite some time.
Right, and the
in fact, I believe that last week's win, or their last win, I think that was against the Giants, right? Their last win. That was the first time that they outgained an opponent all year in yards. Okay, right. Because Mark makes a big difference. Mark Lawrence, who does a lot of the statistical stuff as well, makes a big point out of looking at how many times you quote unquote win the stats. Mm-hmm. But his definition of win the stats is based totally on yardage. Yeah. I look at it also from a perspective of yards per play. And actually, Philadelphia was outgained on a yards per play basis in their first 4 games, but in their more recent, the next 4 games, they have won the yards per play differential. So, it's a little bit more that shows that, Philadelphia was struggling early, but they were not struggling quite as bad on what I call yards per play a secondary stat. Mm-hmm. Okay, total yards is a primary stat. So on the secondary stats, Philadelphia was actually playing better, and I like. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that game a little bit later. That's the Monday night game. But right. as far as the Giants go, Chicago's playing with a lot of momentum right now. 5 out of 6. They're in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
Are they? I think are they hold down one of the wild card spots now?
I don't think so. I think they're right out of it.
No, you know what? I think they are the number 1 team out, and I think Carolina's the number 2 team out.
Yeah, because I know the draft order, they're number 18 right now, so they would be the top team not to make the playoffs. So we had a question about why this line has moved. It moved from 3.5 to 4.5. And Luke is saying the injury report. So I just pulled that up. DMPs, Paulson Debo, Jermaine Illuminor, John Michael Schmitz. Only a few guys. I don't think this is that
Where's
bad.
Sweat for the Bears?
Sweat is he
listed?
He is not listed. No.
Okay.
He's not listed. So, look, given that the Giants are not nearly the team that we saw build the big lead against Denver and beat the Eagles the first time, and beat the Chargers just because they don't have Scatabo or Neighbors now. I think the Bears are the way to go. The Giants' run defense is so bad, and the Bears love to run the ball, obviously, with Ben Johnson. Yeah. Kyle Monangai was awesome last week. So even if Swift can't go, they have Monangai. I know that the Bears' defense is awful. I just don't think the Giants can take advantage of that. I should say the Bears' pass defense is awful. The Bears' run defense is actually not that bad. Their pass defense sucks, but can Jackson Dart take advantage of that with Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson and Theo Johnson? I don't think so. So I like the Bears here. What do you think about this game?
Let me see, because I think I went with the Bears, but I don't know where I went with the Bears, and I went with them as just a lean, and that was at -3.5. Concern, again, quality of opposition. Chicago's 5-3. Those 5 wins have come against teams that are 12-26 against everyone other than the Bears. That's what is that? 30. Where's it here? 31.6%. The teams that they have beaten are 9-12 against everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants have one of those unusual profiles because their 2 wins came against the Chargers and the Eagles. So the 2 teams they've beaten are 12-3 against everybody other than the Giants.
Right.
And the 7 losses have come to teams who are 24-30 against everybody else. So that does give the Giants the wins and losses and what their opponents were have played a more difficult schedule overall, which makes me a little bit leery of laying points with Chicago. But then I also ask myself a question that you sort of asked: how do the Giants score?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, their 2 best players are out. They were marginally competitive for a little bit against the 49ers, but the 49ers are a better team. But the game was at home game for the Giants, so not a game I'm looking to play. And I think by listing them as the rest sort of indicates that.
Okay, yeah, I might be betting the Bears here. We'll see. Could make it to the contest card as well.
Well, that would be the only side I would consider. What line are you showing there now? 4.5.
It's 4.5 across the board.
So that'll probably be a contest number as opposed to 3.5.
Yep, I would think so. Okay, so we go to the 4:00 games now. Cardinals at the Seahawks. This line is Seahawks minus.
Although
didn't
Chicago put a big number on Dallas?
Yes, that was the game.
35-14.
Yeah, CD Lamb got hurt in the second quarter, late first quarter, early second quarter. Yeah, I think he got hurt in the first quarter and left and came back.
With your DVOA, how much better is the Giants defense than the Dallas defense?
Giants defense. Dallas defense is number 30. Giants defense is where are you, Giants? 26.
Okay, not much difference. So maybe the Bears will have success against that Giants defense. Especially since the defense may be on the field a lot of times, because with that Giants offense, we may see, even against the Bears, a lot of 3-and-outs.
It's worth noting here that the Bears, with this game, they will play the 3 worst run defenses in the NFL. Dallas, number 30 against the run, and we saw them destroy Dallas. The Giants, number 31 against the run, and Cincinnati, number 32 against the run. And we saw them have a 14-point lead last week until they almost blew it. But
the Giants are 31st against the run, allowing 150 yards per game. And Chicago's number 2 in running the football, averaging 144 yards per game. And the Chicago Bears, looky. They are number 1 in forcing 2.4 takeaways per game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they have a
Giants are about average, yeah.
They're playing a quarterback who's a rookie and has a couple injuries on the offensive line in front of him and no receivers to throw to. So there could be some turnovers.
Another factor that I'm starting to factor in as well is the positive impact that Ben Johnson has had on Caleb Williams and the offense. I love that. I don't know if you would call it a double reverse, but certainly a double pitch on the touchdown that Caleb Williams caught last week.
Oh, they called it the hot potato. That was the play they called.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. What's that?
I would say
it wasn't quite the Philly special because did Philly have 2 guys touch the ball before the pass?
I don't know. I was at a bar watching the. I don't know.
So you were half gone when that occurred then.
The quarter gone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But in any event, I think that Johnson has had a very positive impact on the entire offense and defense, and people can rightly say, Ben, you're no Eberflus. Thank God.
No. Yeah, much better coaching this year.
Yeah, and you start playing with confidence, and all of a sudden, again, we said that they are the number 1 team out of the wild card. So let's say, for argument's sake, that Minnesota loses to Baltimore. I believe Minnesota's a wild card right now.
No,
check on that.
Chicago has a better record, so Minnesota will not be wild card.
Oh, okay. But let's say that one of the teams in contention lose, and the Bears win. Now, of course, covering is a little bit of a different story. But when you're going up against such a weak defense, especially in that one area of rushing the football, where your opponent, this is a classic example of a matchup: strength versus weakness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it definitely is. And
when the weakness is on defense, I prefer to go with the strength.
Yeah, and I think the Chicago has multiple advantages in this game, both on both
Yeah.
sides of the ball. We talked about how the Giants don't have any weapons, and the Bears can take the ball away, and the Bears can run the ball into that defense.
No.
And look, the Bears, they've been 5-1 since week 3. They lost those 2 games to start,
Yeah.
Minnesota and Detroit, and then you figure the first game, Ben Johnson's still learning how to be head coach in the NFL. Second game was a short week against Detroit, who was Detroit a mad Detroit team that they got blown out by the Packers, and then Chicago gets its head right. They're 5-1 since week 3. So
What's their overall record? They played how many games?
8. So they're 5-3.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, and again, I'm not big on defensive turnovers because sometimes they're more accidental because there's less decision making
Mm-hmm.
on defensive turnovers than on offensive teams that experience them. But when you see a number like this, number 1 in the league in 8 games, 19 turnovers they forced. That's an average of just under 2.5 per game. That's catches your attention.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, new coaching staff, technique. Are you what's the secret to punching the ball out, etc. Deflecting possible interceptions to teammates, things like that. That often you have to be in the right place at the right time. But there's also technique. I think also that's one of the key things with offensive line development. You got to have a good offensive line coach because offensive line is all about position, leverage, weight distribution. A lot of it just has to do with being taught the right. It's all physics.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, that's definitely true. Okay. So
I remember hearing, the astronomer Neil deGrasse Tyson. This was a big thing last year on a lot of the news networks. He was explaining the gravitational effects and forces of the tush push.
Was he really?
Yeah. And he was actually explaining how when you do what they're doing, you're actually moving the earth with all that weight by like a fraction of a centimeter or something. I mean, he was having a lot of fun, but he was basically explaining the physics principle behind the tush push and why the Eagles have been able to master it, what they have been able to figure out. Although I don't think he discovered he's just revealed what they discovered or whatever, but that it's not by accident that they are doing it. That there's a physics explanation behind it.
That's awesome. I'll have to get my son to get into football, so he'll be into that. He's really into the moon right now. He's always like, Daddy, where's the moon? Where's the moon? So like, it's 5 o'clock.
Maybe he'll be in Apollo 78.
Maybe he's actually said he wants to go to space. And I was telling him about the planets. He's like, Daddy, I want to go to Mercury. I'm like, well, that might be a tough one because it's 350 degrees facing the sun, and you'll die of radiation. So you might want to try Mars first before any other planet. That's probably
that way you'll just freeze to death.
Well, at the equator, during the daytime, at the equator, it's a nice 65 degrees. On
but what are you going to do at nighttime?
Well, yeah, it's negative 300 degrees at nighttime, so that is a problem. Also, the sandstorms will kill you too. Yeah. So anyway,
so I would lean Chicago. Probably not a play, but I do like that fundamental matchup that I mentioned. In fact, against just illustrated again, they've had 3 common opponents this year. I don't have the names in front of me. Giants are 0-3 straight up, 1-2 against the spread, losing by an average of 10 points per game. Chicago 3-0, both straight up and against the spread, and winning by an average of 10 points per game. The rushing numbers against those 3 opponents, the Bears 151 yards per game gained. Giants 148 yards per game on the ground allowed. As far as the other part of it, 98 yards per game gained by the Giants, but only 96 yards per game allowed by the Bears. So they have a nice advantage in the rushing game both ways.
Yeah,
against those common opponents. And let me just very quickly check once again the overall numbers to see. Giants average. Well, the Giants have a little bit of a better edge there. 118 they average on the ground. Chicago allows 131. But again, when you factor
the common
out
opponents. Common opponents were Washington, Dallas, and the Saints.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so anyway, so it sounds like we agree on this one. So we can go to the 4 o'clock game, Cardinals at the Seahawks. Seahawks are -6.5.
The up and coming Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, the upstart Seahawks.
Yes,
They were -7 on the advanced line. Now they're 6.5 because Arizona looked good Monday night. They beat Dallas, such an impressive
they
win.
finally played a game that was not a one-score game, and they won it, and they won it convincingly.
Yeah, it looked a little scary a little bit toward the end because
By the way, Kyler Murray now on IR.
Oh, you got placed on IR today? Okay, yeah. I didn't see that. So, no, Jacoby Brissett has played better. It's funny.
And I wonder if the injury they're citing is ineffectiveness.
or sore thumb for playing video games too much.
Yeah.
Which, Jacoby Brissett's been better, and it's funny that the whole narrative last year is Trey McBride can't score touchdowns, and suddenly he can't stop scoring touchdowns. And Marvin Harrison Jr. bust. Oh, he suddenly has his best game. It's funny how that works out. I will say this though, as well as Jacoby Brissett has played, he has played against teams that don't have top 10 or top 12 defenses. The best defense he's played is Green Bay. They have number 14 defense in EPA. He's played against the Colts, who are number 15, Packers number 14, and Dallas obviously terrible at number 30. So he hasn't played against the top defense yet, and Seattle has the top defense at number 5. So my rule with backup quarterbacks is you could play them. They actually have a very good track record of covering, which is just general backup quarterbacks against teams. The defense is 13 or worse, but against top 12 defenses and especially top 10 defenses, they're very poor against the spread. And it makes sense.
Is that broken up, however, between the experience of the backup quarterback? Because Brissett has, several years in the league, so he's got some experience, as opposed to someone who's been a bench warmer for 6 years and made 4 starts over those 6 years.
I didn't do a complete audit of that, but
I think that would make some sort of difference. However, and I just comment here, Seattle's been much better team on the road than they are at home, which is shocking. Yeah, the contrast is shocking.
Yeah, they haven't been that good at home. However, they've been good against Arizona no matter where they played. They've beaten Arizona 8 times in a row. Many of those games by 7 or more.
What's the ATS record?
Let's see. I'll look that up in 1 second.
Because some of those years Arizona was really bad, and Seattle was a playoff team, so they may have been laying double digits in a couple of those home games.
Right. So let's look it up here. Since 2020, or actually let's just look at this losing streak. Arizona has covered only once against Seattle, and
in the last how many games?
In the last 8 games, they're 1-7.
4 years worth. 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, they're 1-7 against the spread here. So, I just Seattle. I feel like Seattle has such a good matchup here. Arizona can't run the ball, and I think that's a big problem against the top defense. Like when you play against the top defense, if you're one dimensional, like it's really difficult to score because Seattle's just gonna be able to clamp down. Seattle's a really good pass rush. One of the I think the top 3 in pressure rate in the NFL. They'll be able to get to Brissett, unlike some of the teams that Brissett has played. Arizona coming off a short week as well. I know there's familiarity here. They played Seattle already, divisional game and such, but teams coming up Monday night football games, generally sub 500 against the spread this year. I believe I can look up in a second what they are so far this year. They're pretty bad. 8-15 against the spread. Teams coming up Monday night football.
Let me see. I've got that here somewhere.
It's like worse than usual, but still. Also, Seattle's margins over Arizona in the 8-game winning streak: 12-10, 1-10, 10, 10-8, and 3. So 6 of those 8 results would have been covers.
What'd you say the result was for last game on Monday?
Teams coming off Monday Night Football this year, 8-15 against the spread.
Okay, I'm showing 9-15, but no, it could also be that there's a bye week in there. Now, does yours include No bye weeks between the Monday night game and the next game,
Yes.
or is
Yeah.
it anytime?
Yeah.
Because my
No.
my
No bye
9 and 15, my say it might be that there was a bye week in between the Monday night
Yeah.
game and the next game.
I made sure there wouldn't be a bye week.
Okay. Yeah.
There might be a push or something that as might be like 8:15:01 or something for you for me.
No,
and
no,
I
what,
just
no,
picked
no.
it.
What I'm saying is no, because I have
I
24
know.
games. You have what? You have 23 games in your data size,
Well,
right?
I didn't check the push, so there might have been
Oh, okay.
8:15:01. I just ignored the push. So
No, because mine definitely do include those games where a bye week followed the
yeah,
Monday night game, because last month play when they I not that they played last Monday, but their last game was a Monday night game,
right, yeah,
which is different.
yeah. So it might be a push, it might be something else. I don't know. Anyway, so I like Seattle here to cover this number. I feel like as well as Arizona's played, I think they're outmatched in this one. So what do you think about this game?
Well, this is another one where I had to make a pick, and I put it in the lean category, and I did take Arizona plus a 6.5 points. Number one, they've not lost a game by more than 7 points all year, so 6.5 that could easily go up to 7, especially after everybody saw the performance. However, and part of the reason why it's not a play is I take a look at the common opponents that these teams have faced this year.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The quality of opponents. Well, let me see what the performance is against the common opponents, because I was looking at something that was a little bit more dramatic than that. And let me see here. Okay, against common opponents, no, they're both 1-1. But in the class of opponents that they're facing, Seattle's an A team. Arizona's a B team.
Okay.
Against B teams, Seattle is 4-0 straight up and against the spread, winning by an average of 8.2 points per game, and outgaining those B teams by 98 yards per game. Arizona, as a B team, is 0-4 against A teams, which is what Seattle is. They are 1-1 against the points, which would make sense because against A teams, they're probably getting a bunch of points, and they have those close one-score losses. They've been outscored by an average of just 3 points per game. And they have been outgained by an average of 28 yards per game. So I can certainly see the reason, especially given the history that you gave us with these two teams. But like I say, I had to take. I like this Arizona team fundamentally because they don't quit. They do play hard for the most part. Now, and by the way, and there's another reason why I like them. They blew the game against Seattle.
Yeah.
They were up 20-6, and Seattle tied the game and then won on that late field goal. So Seattle Arizona may be going into this game saying, "This is our longtime nemesis. We should have beaten them the first time. Now let's go and beat them on the road."
Yeah.
Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Maybe it means just another competitive. Maybe it's a 27-23 game, but it's not a game I'm going to play.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be on this one for Seattle. Murray, like Sanjay saying, Murray on IR with injury. Exactly. Yeah. Seahawks outgained Cardinals 384 to 253 in week 4. What was the yards per play in that game? Let's see. Seahawks were 6.0 to 4.0. Big edge there.
That's
brief
a significant.
synopsis.
Yeah, that's a significant edge.
I have a brief synopsis I write in my Excel sheet for every game, dating back to the beginning of time when I first started this. I have the Cardinals had issues early
when the world began, according to you.
Yes, exactly. I'm the main character here.
Not Garp, you, Walt.
Yes, main character. The Cardinals had issues early with more mistakes from Marvin Harrison Jr. The Seahawks led throughout, but blew the lead with some errors. The Cardinals tied the game at 20.
That's right. So, yeah, I had it the other way around. You're right.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah, but a poor kickoff and JSN reception gave the Seahawks the win. So 384 to 253 Seattle, 6.0 to 4.0 Seattle. So Walt, we posted this at 8:38 Sunday. Wish we caught Detroit -3 before kickoff tonight. The line went off 10 minutes prior. Okay. Yeah, that's.
Oh, that was the matchup for this week's game against Washington.
Yeah, that would have been the nice line to get. Yeah. Yeah.
Best injury report I ever remember, I may have mentioned it a couple of years ago, was back with Eric Dickerson when he was holding out, I think, in mid-season.
Mhm.
And I think the Rams placed him on IR. And the injury report said, Eric Dickerson, wallet.
Wow.
Yeah. I still remember. I think it was in the New York Post, which has a history of being a little bit clever. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay. There was another fun. I can't remember what it was. I remember seeing a funny one, but I don't think I could top that one. All right. So we have this which Cassandra just brought up. Detroit -8 against Washington. So I mean, this seems like
this is a situation play of all situation plays this season.
It's not just a situation play; it's a great matchup play too. Like it's everything favors Detroit in this game. I mean, look at the matchups.
Yeah, the revenge for the playoffs, for the embarrassment in the playoffs when Detroit was injured.
Yes.
Detroit coming off of a home loss to Minnesota.
Yep.
Washington without a quarterback.
Yep. Washington without a defense. Their defense is awful.
Yeah.
You have Detroit's offense. And the only worry I have in this game is Detroit's tackles both got hurt last week. But yeah. I think it sounds like Sewell should be able to play as long as one of them plays. I love Detroit here. In fact, considering this is my pick of the month, I love Detroit a lot. I don't understand how Washington keeps this close. Like they talk about how
I can't understand. I can't understand why the line was 3.5 on the look ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So, I talked about before backup quarterbacks against elite defenses. Detroit's defense in EPA, I believe, was number 1 last week. What is it now? It's still number 1. Detroit should have their way, like on both sides of the ball. Like they're going to be able to move the ball against Washington. Washington's linebackers are so slow. You figure Detroit's going to be able to take advantage of that with how they attack over the middle of the field. And then Washington's offense with a backup quarterback and injured receivers. It's not just like if Mariota had McLaurin and Samuel. And
that might be different.
Right, and a good offensive line. You could be like, okay, maybe they could do something here, but I don't really see it. I made this line in. I don't know what you made this line. I made this line 13.5. I think it's way too low.
Let me see.
I made this line. Yeah, I made this line way too low. So, Lions against garbage defense. Lions offense better than Seahawks, and Seahawks torched the Redskins. Yeah, seems way too good to be true. I love 2 games this week. This is one of them, and I am considering Detroit as my pick of the month. So,
let me see if I have it here. I made this line. I actually made it 9.
Okay. Oh wow, you're closer.
But then again, when you factor in Daniel's injury, McLaurin's injury, Detroit coming off the loss,
how much
the line probably would be closer to 12.
How much of that? Well, okay. Well, how much of your 9 factors the stuff in?
None of it.
None of it. Okay.
None of it.
So
that's a pure power rating line, which has no subjectivity in it at all. That's where the art of handicapping comes in. The science is the number's 9.
Okay.
The art is now we start compensating for the intangibles that don't come in at that can't quality be objectively put in there. You use your experience. You use the situation. How much is the situation worth, or who does the situation favor?
Right.
The Lions are in a positive situation. Now Washington could be in a neutral situation, but given the loss of Daniels, they're in a negative situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have a positive or negative versus a neutral. You could have you had, like, for example, in the Baltimore-Minnesota game where I said the game was pretty much equally important to both teams. Well, there's let's say a positive versus a positive.
Yeah.
Or a negative versus a negative, depending upon how you interpret the game being a critical game, because critical could also be negative because it puts pressure on. But the point is, the situation, to me at least, for Baltimore, Minnesota, is relatively similar.
Mm-hmm.
And here you've got a positive versus a negative, both of which are strong. Obviously, I mean, I would say the bigger negative is probably Washington without its quarterback. Although, to be fair, Daniels was not having the kind of year this year that he had last year.
Sure.
How much of that might have been done due to an injury that maybe had not been diagnosed but was sitting there all along waiting to happen? That's part of it. Maybe he was favoring something or whatever. But Detroit. But that advantage of as far as the seriousness of the injury being more significant to Washington is offset by the dual motivational factors of revenge for Detroit, which, okay, maybe it's not that important, but coming off the loss to Minnesota is important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially because they want to maintain their lead over Minnesota, who could lose this week to Baltimore. And at the same time, Green Bay could lose to Philadelphia. So Detroit would be able to pick up a game on Green Bay. And that would mean now that they would both have the same number of wins, I believe. Green Bay has 5. Detroit has 5. They each have 5. Okay.
No. But
Green Bay has that tie in there, which means that if Detroit beats Green Bay on Thanksgiving, they basically control their own destiny if both teams, let's say, win, lose, or do whatever between after this week's games and that Thanksgiving matchup.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's so many advantages for Detroit.
And by the way, I have to think Detroit, if they're being realistic, and we talk about it, has to believe their playoff chances are very, very remote right now.
You think Detroit's?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Detroit, Washington. I'm sorry.
Oh, Washington. Yeah, Washington. Yeah,
3-6. Yeah, Washington.
Yeah.
No, I think Detroit's chances are very, very good.
Yeah, I do too. I would agree with your take on Washington there. So, okay. So yeah, we agree on this one. So, this is a contest play for you?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Okay.
I want to see what the line is. I think last week Detroit, their line was different. I think it was 8.5 in one of the contests and 9.5 or 9 in the others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. All right. Last of the late afternoon games. Rams at the 49ers. Rams are -4.5. I was hoping. I liked the Rams initially. I was hoping to see a good injury report, or at least a negative injury report for the 49ers. So what I was really looking for is Bryce Huff, his participation, because
I was going to say for the injury report for the 49ers, it might be easier just to list the players who are not injured. Yeah,
I know it's
save
ridiculous.
paper, save a tree.
Right. But it's like Bryce Huff was limited in practice today, which is it's a big deal because without him, the Niners didn't have anyone to rush on the edge. At least he can do it. Now we'll see. Maybe he goes DMP tomorrow and regresses, or goes limited and doesn't play. We'll have to see what his status is going to be. But the fact that he might play now, I think. I was
going to say, assuming he plays, what would your analysis be?
Right. If assuming he plays, I don't think that's as big of an advantage for the Rams that it would be, if he didn't play. However, I still think the Rams have a nice edge here with, Mac Jones going against a top defense like the Rams. The Rams in EPA, they're number 2. So they have a great pass rush. The Niners allow pressure on the quarterback pretty frequently. Just feels like they should be able to dominate this game, especially given that the Rams beat the Niners.
And they do not get they average barely over 1 sack defensively per game. Rams more than 2 sacks per game greater. That's significant to have a 2-sack edge.
Okay, yeah. They
defensively.
Yes, they get to the quarterback a lot. So they are looks like they are number 5 in pressure rate in the NFL. So, they'll be able to get to Mac Jones here, I think, pretty easily. And, there is a revenge factor, too. The Rams lost to the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. These teams hate each other. And, I think the Rams are playing so well right now.
See, I don't think the teams hate each other. The fans hate each other.
Sure. That's true.
I mean, remember, guys on the Rams and guys on the 49ers have the same agent. They play in the same golf tournaments together. Like that. So I think, in the old days, maybe, the Packers and the Bears or something, 60 years ago, when players weren't getting paid very much and they counted on postseason bonuses for their income, maybe the hatred was there between the players. Right now, I think there's very little widespread hatred. Maybe if a guy, does something to you, giving you the business, like the old ref said, that might be a little bit different. But I think in general, it's the fans that have the hatred, and the writers, the media, that plays upon that hatred to talk about it and build it up when game week comes. As far as the players go, They're playing another team. That's all they care about.
I think there needs to be more hatred. If I were playing, I would like create fake stories about the other team.
Yeah,
Be
they do that. Yeah.
like, hey, who's the big on the Rams? Hey, Jared Verse, some guy in the Niners said your girlfriend's ugly. Like,
Yeah.
just
No,
just
no,
make
no. Some guy on the Niners was with your girlfriend last night.
right, yeah, you could do that too. So
That would probably be an unsportsmanlike play penalty if the official heard it.
yeah. Or no, I mean like do it before the game, like leak it to the media or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
That's what
do it during the game when the resolution of the next play is taking place.
right. So I would be nuts. I was a little crazy when I swam competitively.
Yeah.
I would tell like some of my teammates that hey, that guy was like talking crap at you, and like and so they'd swim faster, especially like if I knew that like some of my teammates were like this one guy, he was like
Yeah, but isn't it illegal to carry a knife in your hand when you're swimming?
it would be difficult to do. Actually, you couldn't. When I swam,
Especially if it did the backstroke.
yeah. It was when I swam, you actually couldn't show tattoos. You had to cover it up.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know, stupid. But yeah, and you couldn't swim with jewelry.
Well,
Either.
you know what it was. I
understand
think it was that your tattoo said, "Barring tattoos is stupid." If
Right.
that was not, if your tattoo said something else, it might have been okay. What's this comment here?
Andy, I think what you're saying is especially true for college football now. Michigan and Ohio State hate each other. They're kids who
Yeah.
don't care and don't know the history now being paid. Yeah,
That's because you don't have the classic coaches like Woody and Bo,
right.
who are really very good friends outside of football season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny how things have changed for sure. I think the first football advertisement, it was like, hey, come play football. You can hit other men and not go to jail. That was I don't know if it's the Packers or Bears put that advertisement up, but one of them did. And so now it's like, hey, come play football.
Was that like in the 1920s or more recently?
Yeah, it was when they made their first team, when they had tryouts. They put an ad in a newspaper. One of those, I can't remember which one. They put an ad in a newspaper saying, "Come play football. You can hit other men and not go to jail."
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's much different now. Now it's like, come play football. You can get rich and hang out with your quote unquote hated enemies.
Rival.
So, exactly. So anyway, I do like the Rams here. My level of interest will depend on the injury report for the Niners. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I'm also on the Rams here. Again, I take a look at a lot of these different things, including common opponents. There are 3 common opponents. Rams 3-0 straight up and against the spread. 49ers 1-2 straight up and against the spread. Rams winning those games by an average of 19 points per game, 27.7 to 8.7. It's that 8.7 that is impressive, meaning they shut down the opposition. I think New Orleans was one of those. I think Arizona may have been one of them as well. No, I don't think the Rams have played Arizona yet. San Francisco's outscored by 3.6 points per game against those 3 foes. Yardage, offensive yardage per game, very close, 335 to 319. Defensive yardage against those same 3 opponents, significantly an advantage to the Rams, allowing 282 versus 369. So the net yardage is basically plus 53 for the Rams, the differential, minus 50 for the 49ers. A lot of that may have to do with turnovers. 49ers minus 4 against those 3 foes. Rams plus 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes
so
sense.
So that points to it. But this is a game that I do have in my playable category. I did have it Rams minus 3.5, but I will probably still play it even if it at the higher number.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, we have the Sunday night game, Steelers at the Chargers. This line is Chargers minus 3. The big thing here, Joe Alt.
Is this minus juice on the plus 3 or with the Steelers minus 120 or something?
See, Steelers minus 115, minus 114 FanDuel, minus 113 Bet Rivers. So yeah.
So it's minus a small number on the Chargers laying the 3.
Yeah, small number. So, look, the Steelers should be able to get to the Justin Herbert a lot, like frequently in this game. Like, Herbert without Joe Alt has not been the same. We were talking about that earlier. Herbert's been excellent when Joe Alt has played, but without Alt and without Rashawn Slater, he just doesn't have any protection. And now he's playing against T.J. Watt and the Steelers, who were all over the Colts. And the Colts have a good offensive line. Maybe it was an outlier, as you were saying, but I do believe in the talent that Steelers have on the edge, and that's just the big advantage that they have in this game.
If I recall correctly, the Chargers in the 3 games without Alt, didn't they lose 2 of them? I think one. I know they barely beat the Dolphins. That was their one win in there, the 29-27 comeback win.
Yeah.
Who did they lose to? I know they lost 27-10 to
Washington. They
Washington
lost at home. They lost to Washington. They got blown out by Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And if you want to count it, because Joe Alt got hurt on the 8th play of the game, they lost to the Giants as well. So,
okay, yeah, that's yeah. So
yeah, so they very, very poor results here without Joe Alt, and now they have to play against the Steelers defense, which we could safely say the Steelers defense better than Washington's, at least than the Giants. You could argue Colts but they're better than the Dolphins.
I'm still thinking this might end up being a higher scoring game than I thought.
You think so?
Well, I think that even without Alt, I think the Chargers may, because I still don't think all that much about Pittsburgh's defense.
Okay. I just don't see how Herbert's going to be protected here. Also,
short passes and a running game.
Yeah, but
let them get the ball out quickly.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been able to run the ball without Joe Alt either. They ran for 30 yards last week.
Yeah.
Against
how'd they do in the other games when Alt was out as far as running the ball? How'd they do against the Giants?
Let's look it up. So that was back when they had Hampton. I think Hampton had a good game that year, that week. Hampton went 12 for 128, but that was one of the games was a long touchdown. I think Chargers Dolphins would be more instructive. Plus or Chargers Washington. Chargers in the Dolphins game, they ran Kamani Vidal ran for 124. Okay. And then Chargers
what they do against Washington?
Vidal, actually, let's see. The leading rusher was Justin Herbert. Hampton went 12 for 44. So not great against Washington's run defense. But I think Hampton got hurt in the game. That Vidal went 4 for 18. Haskins went 5 for 13. But yeah, Hampton 12 for 44. Not great. Herbert was the leading rusher for the Chargers, 4 for 60. So also something to keep in mind is that
how about now maybe a low scoring game? If you look at Pittsburgh, they are averaging 87 rushing yards per game, and the Chargers are allowing about the league average of about 110.
Right.
So if the Chargers again, if they play a deliberate game, because they want to be they want to as long as it's a competitive game, they probably want to have as few plays run offensively as possible.
Yeah. Also, the Chargers have no home field advantage. They're going to be more.
Steelers it's going to be 75 to 80% is some of the projections.
Oh yeah, they're going to be so many.
Of the projections, yeah,
they're going to be so many Steeler fans in the stands. It's going to be basically like a home game for them. And so the Chargers are going to have to go to silent count. It's going to be horrible here. I think Pittsburgh wins this one. I just very low on the Chargers with no tackles. And those aren't the those aren't the only offensive line injuries they have. Like Becton was out last week as well. So it's looking pretty bleak for the Chargers. I do wonder if they have any other injuries. I haven't looked at the injury report for them yet this week, but let's see, no Bobby Hart, DNP. He got hurt as well in that game. He was playing right tackle. Bobby Hart was, and so they could be down their top 3 tackles really. So it's looking pretty bad. So yeah, I do like the Steelers here quite a lot actually. What do you think about this game?
Let me see if I can find my numbers here because I do like the Chargers defense.
Yeah, Chargers defense is
which I think does keep them in the game going up against a 40-year-old quarterback and a team that can't run the ball.
Yeah.
Let me see what I have here as far as the sack numbers. Pittsburgh. Well, there's a nice edge for Pittsburgh in the sack game. Chargers, basically Herbert, average being sacked 3.2 points per game, and Pittsburgh averages administering 3.4 sacks per game. So that favors the Steelers. And conversely, Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers only sacked 1.9 times per game, and Herbert and the the Chargers defense averages administering 2.9 sacks per game. So a little bit of edge there for Pittsburgh. So I think a lot of it comes out with just the game plan for the Chargers. I think the Chargers have to play this game not to lose.
Okay.
So I do lean a little bit to the Chargers. Of the 8 games that I look like I'm considering for play, this is probably the weakest of the 8.
Okay, so you do like the Chargers then?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I like the Steelers here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Chargers results this year without Joe Alt have been awful.
Yeah.
Like really, I mean like nearly losing to Miami is just bad. Getting blown out by Washington might be even worse.
Yeah.
At home no less. And then losing.
Well, at that point, at least now who's the backup for Alt?
I don't know, Austin Deculus or something.
Has he played at all this year? Probably has.
Yeah, he's been awful. Yeah.
So well, he's getting a little more experience.
Evan makes fun of him.
He's like McCarthy, getting a little bit more experience with each game.
Yep. Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's all bad experience though. So yeah,
like I say, I have it down as a potential play, but of my list of 8 teams that I currently have listed as potential plays, that's number 8.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we get to the final game, which is Eagles at Packers. The Packers are favored by 2.5. Packers, lots of injuries last week. They lost Tucker Kraft. Christian Watson got banged up. Matthew Golden got banged up. I don't know what to make of what happened last week. I said on last night's show, I was like, one of three things must have happened. One is that they were, just flat off the win against their former quarterback. 2, they were looking ahead to this game. Or 3, they went out and partied because it was Jordan Love's birthday and they were hungover, and maybe it was all 3. So I would expect a much better effort from them in this game, but without Tucker Kraft, and I think
Kraft has been an important part of that offense lately.
Yeah, he has. Against a banged up Watson potentially, against a Golden not out. Like, it seems like the Eagles.
How about the impact of the nice moves I think that the Eagles made, picking up some to the front and back of the defense?
Yeah, Jalen Phillips, we'll see about what the corners do because both of them have struggled this year. But Jalen Phillips has been really good for the Dolphins. He should be able to add to the pass rush. And we saw Jordan Love get rattled a little bit last week. He's so hot and cold. It's so hard to determine what you're going to get out of him. And it's a big revenge game for the Packers. But I still like the Eagles. I think they're the better team. So I will be on them, but I don't necessarily see this as a play at all. What do you think about this game?
I do like the Eagles. I like them at the plus of 2.5. I have them on the road winning 24-20.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll read this one because this one I did write up. After looking like Super Bowl contenders after 2 weeks, the Packers went into a funk for the next month before a huge effort 2 weeks ago at Pittsburgh. But then last week happened, and they repeated what happened in week 3 when after starting that 2-0, they lost 13-10 in Cleveland. They lost 16-13 at home. That was at Cleveland. They lost 16-13 at home to Carolina. Now they face the rested defending champs, who themselves had not been impressive for most of the time before their bye week. They did have their game against the Giants before the bye, and I did mention how they were outgained early, and on a yards per play basis, they've outgained their last 4 opponents. Their pre-bye win over the Giants was the first game in which Philly outgained their opponent. It was, however, the vaunted Eagles running attack that ran for more than 90 yards, first time since the first 2 weeks of the season. They ran for 276 against the Giants. Their first 2 games of the season, which was Dallas and I forget who they played in week 2, 158 and Kansas City 122. They have, however, outgained their foes on the yards per play basis. As I mentioned, Philly made some trades at the deadline to strengthen the defense. I said Green Bay's offense has been inconsistent, but their overall stats on both sides of the football compare favorably, and they do. They compare nicely with Philadelphia. Still, this is the first time Philly has been a regular season underdog since the middle of last season when, as a 3.5-point underdog, they won 24-19 at Baltimore. And of course, they won the Super Bowl as a 1-point underdog against Kansas City. So I like the fact that they're coming off rest. I like the fact that Green Bay is banged up a little bit, especially at the receiver's position. So I see Philadelphia winning the game, and this will be a money line. It's just a question of when I'm going to play it on the money line, because I want to judge to see, is this line going to go down to 2 or is it going to go up to 3?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Big difference in those two numbers, of course.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this looks like an easy teaser candidate if you can find another leg.
Plus, I think I like the Philadelphia kicking game better.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Eagles, they showed something for the first time all year in the last game with the running game, because they haven't been able to run the ball.
Well, the first two games of the year they were able to run, and after that, not, as I said. And I think that what do they play? 8 games, 9 games?
8, yeah, 8
Eagles,
so far.
Yeah, in the other 5 games they were held under 90 yards as a team.
Yeah, I don't know what's changed. I want to see what happens here, but we just saw the Panthers run all over the Packers. If they could do it, the Eagles certainly can. So we agree here. We agree on this final side. Yeah. So I think more agreements than disagreements this week, but we did have some disagreements. So it's always fun.
It was always nice to look at the two. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we both, I think, had valid reasons. It's just a question of how much weight we give to them, how important we think the factors are. But as I always say, there's always reasons to play both sides in the game.
Yeah,
it's just the questions you think that each of us thinks which of the reasons are more applicable, more important, more likely to occur, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah, I mean, there's reasons. Yeah, like you said, reasons for both sides, unless the Titans are involved, and then you just play against the Titans.
The line moved up this week. They're now +4. They were +3.5 against the bye.
With bye's looking really strong. Yeah. The money printing machine that is the Titans. Unfortunately, they're a week off. So
what's their record in was it something like 4-23 in the last 27 games, or some such statistic like that against the spread?
It's so bad. It's so bad, and their covers are so fluky. Like the Chargers game with the pick six and the punt return, and the Arizona game, like. It's complete nonsense. By the way, the Titans play against the Texans in Week 11. They're 7.5-point underdogs.
Where's it at?
They're home. 7.5-point home underdogs
against Houston. Let's see what Houston does this week.
I'll be on Houston.
Yeah, I'm on them as well against Jacksonville. So it's another back-to-back division game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how they perform against a Jacksonville team that has clearly improved. But much of their early season momentum has gone. I mean, I won't say they were fortunate to beat the Raiders, because they were really in that game all the way.
Yeah. It was a 50-50 game.
And they answered and the thing is, every time they took the lead and the Raiders answered, they answered right back.
Yeah. It was a 50-50 game. They played 10 times. Probably both sides win 5 times each, I think, most likely. So Cassandra says Saints +6, Steelers +3.5. Rams -3, Ravens -3. Careful with that Patriots Buccaneers game. To Andy, I have no clue there.
I like Tampa Bay a lot.
Yeah.
Would I be surprised if New England won? Of course not. They're playing very well. But this will be their biggest test of the season, aside from the Buffalo game, which was a division game.
Mm-hmm. Great numbers, by the way.
Was Buffalo? What's that? You gonna say?
I saw great numbers, by the way. Cassandra getting the Rams -3, Ravens -3.
Oh yeah. What was the Buffalo game the week after they had played? Was it a Monday night game against Atlanta? Was that it?
What are you referring to?
When Buffalo lost to New England, what had they done before that?
Before that, they had barely beaten the Saints, and before that they barely beaten the Dolphins. But before that, the Jets.
Oh, so the Atlanta game was after the Buffalo loss.
It's a New England loss, yeah.
No, New England loss for Buffalo, yeah.
They were back-to-back primetime games, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you add Ray Davis speculatively? Yeah. I actually have Ray Davis on some of my rosters. So, yeah, James Cook missed practice today. So if he can't go, Ray Davis should have a big game against the Dolphins. And we saw what he did against the Jets last
You
year.
should have a big game against the Dolphins if it came to it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know. With my bad back, I don't know if I can make it. Unfortunately, well, not on New Orleans +6 yet, but the other numbers are locked. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I like the Saints a little bit too. Not sure.
Yeah. I like Carolina, but it's tough when it depends what you think of Carolina. If they're a bad team, it's always tough laying points with a bad team.
Yeah.
And expecting them to cover because they're life and death to win a game because they're a bad team.
Mhm.
I happen to think Carolina's a better team than a bad team. They're still not a good team. I mean, look, their record reflects it, and they beat some teams, and certainly they are a better team than New Orleans. But as a general principle, I don't like laying numbers with bad teams because, as I say every week, when two bad teams meet, one bad team's going to win. When two good teams meet, one good team's going to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I feel more comfortable backing either team in like a Kansas City Buffalo game than I do backing either team in the game between Cleveland and the Jets.
Yeah, I think any bad team that's favored by 6 or more, especially because six is a key number. You need a really good reason to bet them.
The Saints are really, really bad.
Yeah, I know.
That's why you can consider Carolina. I mean, there were people who liked the Rams plus the 14 last week against the Rams.
Saints plus 14. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bad team though, and the Rams were not really excited. That's the one where they had 44 minutes of possession. I think we said.
Yeah, 44-16. Yeah. No, I bet the Rams last week. I didn't like the spot, but I just thought the matchup was just way too good to pass up. So I didn't want to make it a big play, but it was kind of medium.
Which one was that?
The Rams minus 13. I think.
I mean, it's kind of like when you're looking at a team like the Saints, they don't have really had shown comeback. I mean, they did early. They played hard in those first two games against San Francisco, Carolina, showed some comeback ability, but they haven't. Recently, you wonder if maybe they're getting worn down, injuries taking their toll, etc. Maybe they get a boost that Olive wasn't traded.
Yeah.
But you still need to have the talent out there to do it. I take a look at a team like the Saints, and I would expect them to show improvement, but they really haven't because I do like Kellen Moore. But maybe he's not cut out to be a head coach. But then again, you can't tell that because he doesn't really have the talent in place to be a successful head coach in his first year.
I think for the lack of talent,
it's not like George Seifert succeeding Bill Walsh with the 49ers.
Right. I think for the lack of talent he has, I think he's done a good job so far. Keeping a lot of games close. Not so much recently, but he's played tough teams. He's played tough teams this year. Like playing the Bills and the Bucks and all those top teams that they played. Who else? The Rams, the 49ers when they were healthy, Patriots, like so many tough opponents.
I'll go back to the Rams and Saints because I use this a lot. Which would you feel? And I think I used it on one of the Green Bay games recently. I think I used it last week actually, and I was on the wrong side, and I did not regret the play. The Rams are clearly the better team, but it's a big number. We should take big points. After the game is over, would you feel worse having taken the weaker team but getting the generous points, as opposed to if you had bet the Rams and they had lost or had not covered against the Saints? And I would say I probably would have felt worse taking those generous points against the Rams because all I was doing was taking the generous points without really offsetting the fundamentals that said, hey, the Rams can win this game by a margin.
Yeah, you were just playing the number, which you do sometimes, but I think there are certainly other factors, and
there are. But I always ask myself, do I go with situation or do I go with talent?
Yeah, and look, I've mentioned,
and it's not which do I feel better. It's which would I hit myself on the face and say, you dummy, you overlooked the obvious.
Yeah, I posted the numbers of teams, how teams have done when favored by 14 or so points, and
Hmm.
they've actually done better than the underdogs in that situation
Yeah.
in recent years. So 14 is not unreasonable. I don't think it's not like if it was like 19 or 20, 21.
Yeah.
Like at that point, you'd be like, okay, maybe you shouldn't bet this, but
Yeah.
14 is certainly
14 is
uh,
2 scores, 2 touchdowns.
yeah. Yeah, 14 is the fourth
In
most
a
runs
game
ever
where each
total by
team
an
is going
NFL
to
game.
have, you know, 10 to 13 possessions, depending
Mhm.
upon pace,
Yeah.
scoring touchdowns, 2 more touchdowns than your opponent, especially if it's a good team. I don't know that I would classify the Rams as a great team. I would say a good team going up against a really bad team.
See, I don't, they might be a great team. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what weaknesses they have. They have
How's
the
their
number
running
two.
game?
Williams ran for 115 in the touchdown. Corum
Yeah,
looked solid.
I mean for the year.
Yeah, I mean, look, the short yardage has been a problem for them, but I don't think it's
Yeah,
unfixable.
who's a better team, Philadelphia or the Rams?
I think it's super close. I think it's very
How
even.
about
I have the
Detroit and
Eagles.
the Rams?
I I think I have the Rams ahead of the Lions in my power rankings. I think I do.
By a lot or a little?
No, they're both Group A, so
Yeah.
they're even.
See, I don't know that there's really any great team out there this year. A lot of really very good teams, but I mean, look at the fact that we didn't go beyond what 4-0 for the first for there to be no more unbeaten teams.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually we go 6, 7, 8 games deep in the season.
It's not just
Well,
Rams number
how
one
many
in my
teams?
power
How
rankings.
many teams have only one loss? None.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But yeah,
Oh,
I
I
don't know. I
like the
mean,
Rams a lot. They were my choice to make it to the Super Bowl
well, look, I mean, a team that's not
in one
great
of my
now
projections.
could be great in by the end of the season. Like
Yeah,
I mentioned this a lot. The Eagles last year, in the first 7 weeks of the season, they lose to Atlanta. They got blown out by Tampa, and they almost
Tampa
lost to
Bay,
Cleveland.
right?
And they almost lost to Cleveland at home with Deshaun Watson. And then second half of the year, they turned into this juggernaut.
Yeah,
So
and they until they had their first loss this year, they'd only had like one loss in their last like 20 games or something.
yeah, and the one loss is to Washington, and
Yeah.
it was because Devontae Smith dropped the pass. If he caught the pass, that wouldn't have
Was
been the
that the
chance.
one where they came back and made a rally but fell short?
Well, they were up a lot, and then Washington made the
When it came
rally.
back, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So like a
yeah.
38-33, something like that.
It was a high scoring game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the only game they lost after the Tampa game, and then they lost a couple times this year. They could have lost more. Like the Rams were up 26-7 against them.
Yeah.
So the Rams are legit. I think that they're a Group A team for me. I don't.
Oh
see
yeah,
why
no,
not.
I have them as a Group A team. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they have the number 2 defense according to EPA. They have Stafford's playing incredibly well. They have two.
Where's their offense number?
Their offense is ranked number 6. Their offense is
Have you got any teams that have offense and defense both ranked in the top 5? Or which has the highest ranking of the teams' offense and defense combined? Maybe it is the Rams, 1 and 6.
There's one. The Rams are number 2 overall in aggregate with offense and defense. There's one team ahead of them, and you're gonna laugh.
Indianapolis.
No, it's Seattle.
Okay.
Seattle. No, okay, you didn't laugh
Yeah.
because I thought because
because I'm not surprised.
I was I thought you were gonna laugh.
I
at me
wouldn't have
because
thought
I
of
was
them, but I'm not
berating
surprised
Seattle
when you
last-
said, what's that?
I thought you were gonna laugh at me because I was berating.
Oh
Seattle
no,
last
no,
week.
you use different factors.
Yeah, Seattle number 2 in offense, number 5 in defense.
Yeah.
The Rams number 6 in offense, number 2 in defense. There are 3 other teams in the top 10 in both. Detroit,
Is Kansas City in there?
No, Kansas City's 16 in defense.
Okay.
So Detroit is number 10 in offense, number 1 in defense.
How about Atlanta?
Atlanta is 20 in offense, 7 in defense.
How about Green Bay?
Green Bay is number 4 in offense, 14 in defense.
Oh, okay.
So you want to guess the other 2?
Yeah, let me think. Okay, 2 others. Let me see what I haven't mentioned yet. Well, I know it's not Cincinnati.
It's
Let me
close,
see.
it's close.
Yeah, well, they're close. There's only about 30 teams ahead of them defensively. Let me think. Let me go through the divisions. Okay. Houston. How about Houston?
Houston's 24 in offense, 4 in defense.
Okay.
Number 4 in defense.
Denver.
Where's that? Denver's 13 in offense, 11 in defense.
Chargers.
Chargers are 14 in offense, 6 in defense.
Wow. I'm going to get it by process of elimination. I'm going to go through 28 teams.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay, let me go where else I have. The Rams and Seattle are both in there. We already talked about it.
1 and 2.
49ers, I don't think would be in there.
No, they're pretty bad. Niners are 15 in offense, 23 in defense.
All right, let me go back to the.
Well, you mentioned Seahawks and Rams. I don't know if you heard my number 3 team. So you could
Arizona.
No, Arizona is. Where are they? They are 18 in offense, 13 in defense.
Who was the number 3 team that you mentioned? Not Baltimore. Pittsburgh. It can't be Pittsburgh.
I mentioned Detroit. Detroit number 10
in
Detroit,
offense. Okay, yeah.
10 in offense.
Okay, say there's just 2 others up there.
There's 2 others in top 10 in both offense and defense.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to take a look. Not at the numbers. I want to take a look at teams I haven't looked in there. Jacksonville.
No, Jacksonville is 21 in offense and 21 in defense. So
okay,
nice chemistry.
Let me see here. How about Carolina?
Carolina is where are they? They're 22 in offense, 20 in defense.
Oh, okay. Are they that low? Okay. Well, it wouldn't be Buffalo, would it?
Buffalo 7 in offense, 9 in defense.
Oh, okay. I was surprised with the defensive number.
Yep.
All right, so we need one more. Minnesota.
One more. No on Minnesota. They're 28 in offense, 17 in
Did
defense.
I mention Tampa Bay?
Tampa's 17 in offense, 3 in defense.
Okay.
It's a high defense ranking.
New England?
Yes, New England 9 in offense, 8 in defense.
I should have realized that because of their weak schedule.
Yeah, that's true.
They should put up good numbers.
Yeah.
And they have a win over the best team they faced.
Yeah. I mean, look, they played. You can you dissect the schedule. That's fair, but they played very well given their opponents. They've blown out a lot of teams. So, and really, like the one loss they've had since week 1, not counting week 1, was the Steelers game where they fumbled 5 times.
Yeah.
So like they could have won that game. So,
but hey, maybe the Steelers had something to do with it. Indianapolis, 3 INTs and 3 fumbles against those same Colts.
Yeah, no.
Steelers
are really good at that. That's definitely a thing.
What did Green Bay do? What were the turnovers with the Green Bay against the Steelers?
Let
me see. I may have that here.
The Green Bay. I don't know. I mean, I know that Love completed 20 passes in the second half.
Let me see what it was here. Green Bay did not commit a turnover against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they were.
No. I'm sorry. No. Green Bay was intercepted 4. No. I'm sorry. Look at the difference. No turnovers.
Yeah, Green Bay was geared up for that game against Rodgers.
Pittsburgh had the only turnover in the game was a fumble.
Yeah. And there's some bad calls too in that game. Okay. Snatch says, okay, Andy, I'll put 5 units on Tampa and I'll yell at you later.
Okay.
Well, that's funny. Bro, you can close some of those tabs. You can't possibly remember what is going on all of them. I do.
You probably can, yes.
I do. I know where everything is. The problem is they're showing up blank right now because I don't know. Something happened with my Chrome. My Chrome's really messed up. I got to reinstall it. But I know where most of the stuff is. So I do know it. Okay, they're both bad teams. Talking about the Cassandra's talking about Saints Panthers. That's why it's scary. I like the line value with the Saints, but I usually only take line value with good teams. And I feel stick with the Saints play.
Well, I'm starting to think that. By the way, the downgrade. Who's going to be starting now with Young out for Carolina? Is it Dalton, or is he still banged up?
Bryce Young's out.
I thought that's what I heard.
Let
me see what Don Best is saying on.
Let me see. I
thought I heard a report today that he was. Well, let me see. Well, I'll take a look. I thought I heard it here earlier today. So
I'm not seeing anything. I just looked. I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, let me see if it's on the report because I do see that there's an update that came in today.
Well, while you look, I'll answer this. Would you trade JSN and Swift for Cook and Amon-Ra? Well, keep in mind, Cook is not practicing yet this week, so you could be trading for damaged goods. But then again, Swift may have lost his job to the Manon guy. I would rather. I mean, look, I would rather have Cook and Amon-Ra. As great as JSN has been, Swift may have lost his job, so you really may just be trading JSN for Cook and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I think I'd rather have the second.
I think I was confusing that with Stroud for Houston.
Okay, yeah, Stroud's.
I don't even see Young on the list.
Yeah, I don't see anything there either. So
who's the backup for Stroud? Oh,
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills, yeah.
Yeah. He actually didn't play that bad last week at least in the first half. Second half he was bad, but he had a tough matchup against Denver, so much easier matchup here against Jacksonville.
Yeah,
number 21 defense. So, all right. Anything else before we head out, Andy?
No, I think that's pretty good. This is actually going to be a relatively short show.
I know we were an hour.
Although we're still approaching 3 hours.
We were an hour. We were an hour longer last week. We were almost at 4 hours.
Yeah.
So, all right. So yeah, we.
By the way, I enjoyed you and Evan last. Was it Thursday night?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. So
I'm gonna try it again. I'll wait for your link tomorrow night.
Yeah, hopefully you can join us in the chat tomorrow. That'd be cool. All right. So logicalapproach.com. Visit Andy's site. Sign up for his newsletter. It has so much info. I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
This week's feature, by the way, is what I do every year at around this time. It's college football this week, where I take a look at the 20 teams showing the greatest improvement according to my power rankings, and the 20 teams showing the greatest decline since the start of the season.
Okay.
And I take a look. I'll just mention that we take a look at the 20 teams showing the greatest improvement. Those should be the teams that have overachieved or exceeded expectations. And sure enough, they are 116-51 straight up. That's 69.5%, and 108, 50, and 9 against the spread, which is 68.4%. So that's what the group of 20 had done. And then the collectively the other way. The 20 most declined teams are 65-107, or 37.8% straight up, and a very poor 59, 108, and 5 against the spread, 35.3%. And then the comment I have is, if the lines maker is looking to get things back to the mean, I would say these 20 teams that showed the greatest improvement so far would have a losing point spread record the rest of the way. And conversely, the teams that have performed the worst so far should have a winning point spread record the rest of the way. So I'll be charting that for the next few weeks till the end of the regular season.
Nice. Yeah. Like I said, Andy, not in addition to picks, he has lots of great information in his newsletter. So let's go to thelogicalapproach.com, sign up for the newsletter, check everything out there. Also visit walterfootball.com, because we have tons of content. We graded every trade on the trade deadline. So read about that.
What was the best, just without giving too much away, what was the best trade you felt and the worst trade?
I thought the Colts getting Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
I thought, that could just put them over the top. I thought that was pretty incredible. I really did not like what the Jets did. It's kind of like I get rebuild, like they have to rebuild, obviously, but the guys they traded were 25 and 27 years old. Like they could have been part of the rebuilding process. So I didn't really understand why they would ship them off. And I don't know if you've heard the meme before. You told me you watched Family Guy before, where Peter Griffin's on that game show, and he's offered a boat or a box, and he goes, "There could be anything in this box, even a boat." I saw the meme saying like, This draft pick could be anyone. It could even be Sauce Gardner. So it's I don't know. I really didn't like what the Jets did. So what do you think about that? The Jets moves.
Well, I grew up a Jets fan, and so obviously I'm a fan, obviously, of any team I bet on. But I still have a nice spot for the Jets. With all the frustration over the years, I didn't like the trade. I mean, you're basically. Well, I mean, not that they were going to do anything, but you're basically not just giving up on the season, you're giving up on the near future. I mean, these are guys that you build teams around, you know, on both sides. Well, the defensive, and of course you got, guys like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, who you can build the offense around. And, Justin Fields, depending upon what you end up thinking of him, we haven't seen the full season yet. He's young enough to be a quarterback that could that could end up making a difference. So I certainly don't think I don't know that it's the worst trade, but I haven't really looked into all the worst. I like what Philadelphia did quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
addressed some needs for a defense that was depleted following last season.
Yeah.
So they did. Now, by the way, what did you think about Dallas?
Well, I think if you just look at for this
Because
season,
I was going to say you can't think they were building for this season.
right. I'm thinking you're just looking at this season, I thought it was a very poor decision because you're not going to win this year. But I think
no, but you're getting building blocks for future years without having to invest in a rookie and sophomore season.
Right. Yeah, they're getting a head start on next year, and they have 2 first-round picks. So with if they nail those 2 picks, they'll also have Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson. I think is underrated linebacker. They could really add to this defense. They already have a good offense. So I mean, next year they could be a legitimate threat. So I like what they did. Yeah. I thought
So it's interesting that well, and again because you can't because of the trades that you would think that if you liked a lot what Dallas did, that or you didn't like what the Jets did, then you might like what Dallas did with especially getting Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like what Dallas did. I also like the Rashid Shaheed trade for the Seahawks because he had played for Clint Kubiak, so he knows the system. I always thought he was an underrated player. He's just been stricken with bad quarterback play for much of his career. So I think he could do pretty well in Seattle. Cassandra does not think so. Cassandra says the Jets won both trades. Don't listen to Walt. They are.
Is he a Jets fan?
I know Cassandra's a big time better. I don't know if Cassandra's a fan of
aren't pitching a quarterback for
yeah, they're doing it for a quarterback and an edge for some other positions that are more impact.
Well, I did hear one of the analysts, and I forget where it was, but they did say that teams are looking more at the 2027 draft choices than 2026 because they expect the 2026 draft class to not be very good, but the 2027 draft class to be exceptional. And I hope that's not all based on Arch Manning.
I would hope not.
He's, unless he shows tremendous improvement over the latter part of this year, and especially next year when he comes back.
Yes, look, he's played better recently than early on. I'll give him that. But no, it's. I mean, look, everyone loves to romanticize the future drafts, and it could be that case again. I will say this: the 2027 class does look a lot better right now, but it could be that may not end up being true. The 2026 class does have some really good offensive tackle prospects.
Yeah.
So,
but not much in the way of quarterbacks, though.
No, I mean, you have some. I think one of them will end up being a decent prospect. I'm not sure which one. Maybe Ty Simpson, maybe Dante Moore. I kind of like the Dante Moore.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what they do. Like I said, I think one of them pan out, but the 2027 class does look legitimate. But we could be discussing this a year from now, and we'll be like the 2028
totally
class
different.
Yeah, great. Compared to 2027. So, but they will have Jeremiah Smith at least. He's going to be, I assume, top 3 pick. He just looks outstanding. So, all right, we are. That's about it for the show. Thank you guys for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it. We'll be back Thursday about 20 minutes or so after the Thursday night game is over, and then Friday we'll be on once again.
I mean, after Denver finishes demolishing the Raiders.
Yes, let's hope so, because we'll both be betting Denver. So it'll be nice to start week 10 off with a win. Andy, let me ask you this last question before we head out. If you had to pick a sleeper player to score a touchdown, to score the first touchdown in the game, in tomorrow night's game, who would you make it? I know this is
define a sleeper.
Someone you wouldn't expect, like the favorites would be Brock Bowers or.
Well, he was the first. He's the first one who came to mind,
right? And
I was thinking a sleeper only because of the fact he plays for the team that's likely not to do much scoring.
Yeah, but
much less scoring first.
Yeah, it's the favorites are going to be Brock Bowers, J.K. Dobbins, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
It's any like under the rate. I'll give.
Who's that other receiver for the Ravens? Thornton.
Trey Tucker, do you mean? Trey
No,
Tucker?
not Thornton. Is there Thornton? I
No,
think.
there's a
Or
Dante
Horton?
Thornton, but he
Yeah,
has
that's
not been active. He was inactive last week.
right. But
But
he maybe
he might
I
be active, yeah, because
because of
the
Jacoby Myers being
yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Jake Besh maybe. So
Yeah,
I'll give an example. So
I know they
the
like Jake Besh, so
so
part of the reasons. Yeah.
I thought the sleeper touchdown scorer in last week's Thursday night game, the Ravens Dolphins game, was Isaiah Likely, and he got it. He actually got an end zone target on the first drive. He almost got it, but then it was Mark Andrews caught the touchdown later. So someone like an Isaiah Likely, so maybe maybe a Pat Bryant for the Broncos, who I think he caught a touchdown earlier this year.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, someone like that. Does anyone come out soon? Does anyone stand out? Because the reason I'm asking this is because FanDuel, they have this promo where you could bet $5 on any player to score an anytime touchdown in the game, and if you opt in, which it's free to opt in, if the player you bet scores the first or last touchdown in the game, you win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. So I actually,
how about Bo Nix?
Yeah, it could be Bo Nix. I don't know if he's a sleeper though. Maybe he is.
There's an anytime touchdown.
Anytime touch, yeah, but it has to be the first or the last. You get a share of $1 million. So, like, obviously, what you.
I thought you said if you're. I thought you said that if he doesn't score the first or the last, but he scores any touchdown, you get a share.
No, it has to be for you to win a share of $1 million. It has to be the first or the last scorer.
Oh well, then what was the anytime touchdown part?
You just have to bet it, and that's how you opt into the promo. So,
I see. In other words, if you make any bet on who's going to score an anytime touchdown,
yes,
you automatically get entered into that share of the million if it's the first or the last touchdown.
Yeah, right.
But you just get paid the odds of whatever it is that they are. Like Brock Bowers would be what, like 10-1.
Bowers anytime touchdown.
Anytime, yeah.
Bowers anytime touchdown. My guess is he's minus 120. Let me see.
Oh, minus 120.
Yeah, that's my. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. Let's see. Touchdown scores. Brock Bowers is. Okay, he's plus 180 for anytime touchdown.
Okay. 26-17 is the projected final score based upon the line. 9 and 43. So that would say that the Raiders, and it's not an exact science, but you're talking about 2 touchdowns on a field goal, I still might end up betting under the Raiders total, although they'll probably make it 16.5, which I don't like to bet under.
Yeah, the 5 favorites are J.K. Dobbins is minus 120, Ashton Genty's plus 105, Cortland Sutton plus 150, Troy Franklin plus 175, Brock Bowers plus 180, and you mentioned Bo Nix, he's plus 270.
That's for an anytime touchdown.
Anytime touchdown, and the guy I mentioned, Pat Bryant, is plus 320. So I might end up going with him. I'm not sure. We'll see. I actually went with Mark Andrews last week, as I thought, okay, most people are going to pick Lamar Jackson or Devon Achane or Derrick Henry and
Flowers.
Flowers, right? And then Andrews scored the first touchdown. I was like, yes, let's go. I was like, how much money am I going to make here? Like, I was like, it's like $1,000, $800 maybe. And then I
$18.16.
I logged in the next day. It's $48. I'm like, oh man, a lot of people took Andrews, I guess. So I wanted someone more under the radar. And I was thinking about Likely. That's why I brought him up, but I didn't bet him. But
that was for an anytime touchdown that got you into that share of the million because of the because of the first or last.
Yeah.
How many? But how many? But you could. Now that's what. How much do you have to bet on that?
$5.
So you could theoretically bet like $100 and have 20 different players working for you.
No, you can only do one. You can only pick one player.
Oh, okay. You're allowed just one per account or something.
Yeah. So the trick is to have your wife's account.
Yeah. Your dog's account.
Right.
Your son and daughter's account.
Yeah. I got to get accounts for them for sure.
In trust for.
Yeah. It works. Why not?
Yeah.
It's nothing against that. So yeah, that I was thinking about Pat Bryant, but like I said, I'll have to brainstorm. Maybe I'll come up with someone else. Maybe like Adam Troutman or something. It might be a little out there.
Oh, you want to go a little out there? Pick a punter.
The punter. Yeah, you could do that.
Or the place kick holder.
Yeah, but the guy that there are two guys with 35-1 odds. There's Dylan Laube and Zamir White for the Raiders. Can you imagine if you'd win the $1 million, you just win $1 million. There'd be no one.
No one else picking them. Yeah,
maybe like one or two other crazy loons doing that. But yeah, that would be funny if you hit.
Now that's what in free wagers.
Yeah, free bonus bets. Yeah. So
okay, and what length of time do you have to make those bonus bets?
I think it's 2 weeks or something.
That's the hell. If you get $200,000 in bonus bets, that's a lot of bets in 2 weeks.
I know.
You'll have time to do nothing else.
Yeah, what you could just do is.
Although I guess you could make a $200,000 bet on one game and say, okay, I'm gonna either have 400,000 or well, no, you'd have 200,000 because the bonus bet itself is not real money.
Right.
But the winnings would be.
I think what I would do is I would bet 100K on both sides and just get the 100K. Just
okay.
Guarantee it. Or you know what? You could probably just try to middle it, like with a +3.5 and a minus. Plus.
Plus 3.5. Yeah.
Both
plus
sides.
3.
+3.5 on both sides or something. Yeah. So that's what I would. I guess
plus 3.5 minus 2.5.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah. So, all right. Okay, we're over 3 hours now officially, so we can.
All right, so we will call it a night, and I'm going to go get. I'm going to the convenience store and get some snacks.
Okay, sounds good. So once again, guys, thank you for watching and commenting. And please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, and visit thelogicalapproach.com. Andy, always glad to do this show with you. Always have a great time.
Look forward to it each week. It's a lot of fun.
Yep, always. Yeah, looking forward to next week already, and have a great week. Let's go 5-0, or at the very least 4-1. And I'll talk to you. I'll talk to everyone else tomorrow.